the sun beat down. I had the radio on, I was driving. Trees flew by, me and Del were singing Little Runaway. I was flying, yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville. This telecast presented by Coca-Cola. So many storylines as we get ready for Martinsville Speedway. Let's start with a guy who's got to start from the back. That will be Chase Elliott in the 9. We'll go to Kelly Stavast.
And Rick, it should be fun to watch. Chase Elliott, the runner-up finisher here at Martinsville in the spring. He showed he had a fast car again this weekend, qualified on the front row, but as you said, due to an engine change, will have to start from the rear. So his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, told me they certainly have the car to do it. Now he's going to have the patience to get it done. And if Chase Elliott can get to victory lane for his first time here at Martinsville, he'll be the first to punch his ticket to the championship 4 in Miami, Parker.
And Kelly, Kevin Harvick enters the round of 8, 2 points below the cut line, and he's starting in 22nd position. But do not fear, Kevin Harvick fans. It's a hot, slick day, and he said this plays exactly into my strengths at Martinsville, Marty.
Parker, 2 things for Denny Hamlin's team in the playoffs that they focused on. Number 1, working on racetracks where Denny Hamlin is good, and 2, focusing week to week. They have spent months getting ready for today here at Martinsville. We'll see if all that preparation pays off. Let's get the round of 8 kicked off and the engines fired here in Southern Virginia at Martinsville.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command to start engines, please welcome President and COO for Fiserv, Frank Visconano.
Welcome to Martinsville. Drivers, start your engines.
Hi, Frank, when you're ready. Fired up when you're ready. And fired up when you're ready.
Parker mentioned it's a hot race day. It is actually the warmest Martinsville race in 15 years. How will the teams handle it?
Denny Hamlin's in the best spot of his career to be that championship driver.
He's got great speed, he's got promise, but he's got experience.
He seems to be doing all the right things.
Denny Hamlin has won the Daytona 500.
Denny Hamlin is going to be the spoiler today.
Where do we think Denny Hamlin stands moving into this round?
He's ready to win this championship.
Is he the most dangerous driver currently?
This is the most championship-ready driver and team that I've seen.
Can the Virginia native finish what he started? I asked him earlier today, Denny, what do you have to do to win? He said, well, I've got to have a fast car, and I can't make mistakes. We know he's got a fast car. Now he's got to take care of not making those mistakes and get to victory lane. The official pace car for today's first Data 500 is the pink Chevy Camaro ZL1. And for every pace lap, $350 will go to the American Cancer Society. Looking forward to seeing that car on the racetrack. Probably not as much as, some would like, but obviously that means a caution has come out. Also want to take a look at the starting grid brought to you by Coca-Cola. And Steve up front, we mentioned Denny Hamlin so strong. Chase Elliott also up there. Hendrick Motorsports has been dominant at this racetrack, so he's representing them up on that first row. But because of the engine change, he will have to start all the way at the back.
Yeah, he will. We have Joey Logano in row 5. Row 6, how about this? William Byron, 21-year-old, driving the 24 car, has never gone to victory lane. But that car number, 9 times the 24 cars won at Martinsville. Could this be the day he gets his first ever career win? Making his 4th start. He's only finished inside the earth, right? Barely inside the top 20 and 20th.
Yeah, and we mentioned Hendrick Motorsports, so much success when you talk about that organization. A little further back here, David Raven, Daniel Hemrick, Alex Bowman, another Hendrick driver, back in row 10. And then it's surprising when you get back here and you see names like Kevin Harvick in row 11.
It is. You know, he went out very early in qualifying. I think that hurt his lap. I think that's why you don't hear any sort of panic out of the 4 team. It's going to be interesting to see him. And how about Jimmie Johnson? All the way back in row 12. I mean, it was Jeff Gordon, then it was Jimmie Johnson, then it was Denny Hamlin. Jimmie Johnson, career-long winless streak. And this is the place, right? Dover and Martinsville, the 2 tracks he's dominated more than anywhere. Can you rekindle the magic at the short track?
Row 15, you see Matt Crafton's name in there. That is because Matt Tifft was here at the racetrack yesterday, went to the Infield Care Center, then went to the hospital, was checked out, actually went home, and so he will not be racing today. Thinking about Matt Tifft, making sure he is okay, healthy, and we hope he gets back to the racetrack soon.
And starting 36, Corey LaJoie driving the Mystery Machine. Great paint scheme. So cool. Cannot miss it on the racetrack.
And Junior, we're going to have some pretty good perspectives as we'll ride along with a few different drivers today.
Yeah, that's right. Chase Elliott's got the Mountain Dew camera on his car right here on the left front bumper as he tries to work his way through the entire field all day long. Going to be some great shots there. Joey Logano has the Coca-Cola cam, a reverse driver camera. See him right there inside the car, warming them tires up. Kyle Larson has the Coca-Cola cam on the roof here, but he has a side panner in that car as well. It's going to give us some great shots of him racing side by side with guys through the field. And Ryan Preece has the Kroger cam, left front bumper as well, just like Chase Elliott. And then Kevin Harvick with the Hunt Brothers Pizza camera. He's got the foot camera. We'll be able to see how he's using the brake pedal, obviously how he's using the gas as well. Very critical at this racetrack, so some great shots there.
And we can go from the feet working for Kevin Harvick all the way up into the aero coverage provided by Coca-Cola. That right there is why this place is called the Paperclip. Martinsville Speedway, very long straightaways, narrow turns at either end of the track. And Steve, let's talk about the numbers for this race.
Well, it's the Paperclip to me, very simply my favorite racetrack on the circuit. There's nothing like short track racing, and Martinsville is it. 500 laps, 263 miles, a little over a half mile in length. And as always, we're going to have some stages. Stage 1, 130. Stage 2, also 130. Those very important points will be distributed. Final stage, a little longer, 240 laps. Fuel window, 150 laps. That is a long run, but it can be done. And as you said earlier, this is it. The round of 8, race 1.
For a few more updates, let's go down to Parker.
And guys, for Jimmie Johnson, who's starting 24th and talking to his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, you know, Jimmy's won here 9 times, but Cliff was telling me this might be one of the toughest for him because of what they're working on inside that 48 team. It's not just about running well. They're redesigning every single process inside that race team, Kelly.
Well, once again, Kyle Busch starts this round of the playoffs at the top of the standings, but the points are tighter than ever. Kyle has just an 18-point cushion over that cut line, and while his crew chief, Adam Stevens, feels like they can win at any track they show up to, he is good here. 8 straight top 5 finishes here at Martinsville, Marty.
Kelly, everybody wants to talk about last year's race. I asked Joey Logano moments before he climbed in the car, would you do it again? Would you move someone for the win at Martinsville? He said, why wouldn't I? It's the only reason I won a championship. You bet I would do it again. We'll find out in 500 laps if someone is willing to do that, Rick.
I bet we find out before 500 laps. We might find out on lap 1 if somebody's willing to move someone out of the way.
I won't lie, Rick. I'm nervous. Rain overnight has cleaned this concrete surface. This will be the cleanest track these cars have run on. Have the crew chiefs adapted? Have they tightened those cars up?
We're about to find out as they will rocket into turn number 1. Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola making up row 1. Green flag in the air. We're racing in Martinsville. And Denny Hamlin perfect through 1 and 2. Surges out in front. Eric Almirola now under fire from Martin Truex Jr. in the 19.
Steve mentioned it rained overnight. It's going to make that outside lane even more difficult to get fired off. It needs to get rubbered up just a little bit. Should be a big advantage on the bottom right here for a little while. Yeah, pretty wide down the back straightaway. Michael McDowell in the middle of that 14 car. We talked about it at the start of the show, Jeff, how that can create some problems for some guys. And look, it's created an issue for the 20 car who's going to lose multiple spots here. Eric Jones on the outside. Still 3 wide.
Joey Logano doing his best, had to nerf the 20 out of the way a little bit. Now look at him lined up underneath Joey Logano. He knows that. He's looking really, really hard for a hole to try to jump into.
Yeah, they moved McDowell out of the way. Now Logano trying to get in behind. Oh, Kyle Busch, he does it.
Matty D cut Joey Logano a break right there. Matthew Benedetto really worked with him. Could have sent him around, decided not to early in the race. Won't see that kindness later on.
Saw William Byron already used the bumper in that 24, and he moved the car out of the way so that he could take a position. Now he has a mirror full of the 18 of Kyle Busch right on his back bumper as we see Brad Keselowski in the 2 making the move to the inside of that 34, David Ragan. What a dominant performance we saw out of Brad Keselowski earlier. Led 446 of the 500 laps in the earlier race this year.
So impressive. When we talk about Martinsville, it's not just the shape of the track, not just the concrete surface of the corners, but the inside of those corners. You see that red and white checkerboard. That is just not a line painted. That is curbing. It's not quite 90 degrees like you're curbing on your street at home, but it's still tall, 5 to 6 inches tall. If you hit that with your left front tire, it can shoot you up the racetrack.
Steve, unique too, when you were giving me the race breakdown, you mentioned that the stages are 130, but they can go 145 to 150 on fuel, so they don't have to come during this stage for fuel. No green flag pit stops possibly.
It can run all the way green, and while they have enough fuel, and the Goodyear tires don't wear out, as they get warm, they do lose grip. So these cars do slow down as they run, and those rear tires are the ones that usually lose grip the most. So hard to accelerate off the corners late in a run.
So that pass right there, the 2 Brad Keselowski made on Matthew Benedetto, that was a really good opportunity to see. Right there, Matt had a huge hole behind him. So what he had a luxury of doing is just kind of letting the 2-car go. Didn't have to put up a fight, because look at the gap. That's something you don't normally see at Martinsville, especially this early after a restart. Keep an eye on that all day long. How you really work hard to find a place to go when somebody gets underneath you.
Burton, you mentioned a gap. That's normally we can tell if someone's holding someone else up, because if you have a gap in front of you and the cars are right behind you, you're the slow car there and they're stacking up behind you. What a big move there by Joey Logano, though, just to go easily by Kyle Busch.
The batter right here.
Oh, big hit there. The 42 sideways. Harvick into his door, slid him up the racetrack.
Logano's trying to pass. Mike McDowell had a little trouble doing that. Got up the racetrack. That allowed the 4 of Harvick to get there. Little contact there. Typical racing in Martinsville. Larson back to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to manage his position, not trying to lose any more spots there.
One driver that's making some work on the outside is the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. None of the passes have been easy, but you see on the outside of Ricky Stenhouse here, Jimmy Johnson, that bright 48. He's up inside the top 20, currently 18th.
And we can expect that from a guy who's won here 9 times, right?
See right here, Kevin Harvick earlier had a run on Larson. Larson tried to block him.
42.
And then he just kept coming down on him. This time Harvick gets to him. Uses a lot of racetrack. Just kind of sends him out of the way. This is a huge race for Kyle Larson, in my opinion. Has not been good here at contact. Only 1 top 10 in his career at this racetrack. He's not high enough in points to have that kind of a race. He's got to have a good, solid race.
You see the bright green number 9 Mountain Dew car, the Chevrolet driven by Chase Elliott, started at the back, well documented because of the engine change. We talk patience. What does that mean? This is what that means. He has a much faster race car, but only up to the 27th position, working right now inside. 2 cars on his outside. He rolls the curb. 2 for 1. That's a good corner when you get 2. Now he has a little breathing room. To the next car, the 21 of Menard. And drivers, that's when your patience are tested, right? When they're too wide in front of you, you just have to kind of take your time, pick and choose your spots.
Yes, Steve, we were riding along. We didn't really know he was 3 wide. I looked out the window and you said patience, and I went, he's 3 wide, man. You can't wait. You got to go. When you're underneath somebody, you got to push the button. You got to go.
As the laps click off, it gets a little bit easier. He should have a bit better of a long-run car than the cars he's racing around. And as the laps line down on these tires, those guys start to slip. Pickings become a little simpler as he climbs through the field. Right on new tires, he didn't make a lot of progress because everybody's cars drive really good when the tires are brand new.
Well, he's just over a quarter of a lap from getting lapped. There's a lot of cars between he and Denny Hamlin, but that's how quickly it happens. 18 laps. Chase Elliott is driving into turn 3 right now. Denny Hamlin's coming off turn 2.
And Denny Hamlin has caught the back of the field, so he is beginning to lap the tail end of the field here at Martinsville. Hamlin leading.
This October, Chevrolet has teamed up with the American Cancer Society to help find a cure. Use hashtag #IDriveForward this October, and Chevrolet will contribute $5 to help end breast cancer.
It's Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville Speedway. And for the first time, NASCAR Champions Week is going to Music City. You can be a part of the celebration and join NASCAR in Nashville. That's December 3rd through the 5th. Visit championsweek.nascar.com for more information. A very warm day in Martinsville. Marty, you doing okay down there?
Oh, we're all fine down here, Rick. And you can see right there the warmest in 15 years here at Martinsville. Now, 80 degrees may not sound like a big deal, but when you think about Martinsville races, they're usually held in April and late October, so that means it's usually cool here, but it is very warm today. And so, Jeff, I harken back to races here at Martinsville in the past, like Ricky Rudd getting out of the car in victory lane and needing oxygen. Same thing for Ricky Craven when he won a race here. This is a physically demanding racetrack and one that drivers usually don't expect to be this warm. So how much is that weather going to play a factor today in 500 laps here around the paperclip?
It is an issue, Marty. The hottest race I ever remember running was at this racetrack, and it was that Ricky Rudd race that he won. And I'm telling you, it was about 89, 90 degrees that day, and I thought I was in trouble about halfway through. Caution right now.
Caution flag has come out, and it's debris on the racetrack. Nobody is pointed in the wrong direction. And it's actually, it looks like a brake duct maybe, Steve, rolling across the front stretch.
Well, there's some sheet metal hanging off the right rear corner of the 15. That came from somewhere. I see a brake duct on the front stretch. Oh, you're getting ready to see it's the nose of the 36. Look at that right there. It catches the front of that quarter panel, peels it open like a tuna can. And that, but there comes the rest of the brake duct.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber, that can cut a tire. Tons of debris everywhere. So now, decision time. 28 laps on your tires. I think the leaders will probably stay out. I don't think the tires are warm enough or slick enough to come to pit road. But I do expect it to be a split somewhere. If the leaders do come, it wouldn't shock me if someone like Chase Elliott maybe stays out and tries to get all that track position.
And you think the tires are wearing well enough that you might not have, possibly a 2-tire stop even?
I think 2 tires is an absolute possibility. From what I hear, the left side tires do not wear very much. They lose grip as they get warm, but they don't wear out. Like, you're not going to go to the fabric. We see the 11 of Denny Hamlin take the left. He comes to pit road. It looks like the whole field is following him. That is a tight pit road, Kelly.
Yeah, but they're making their way down, and that 19 of Martin Truex Jr. also going to come into pit road. Sounds like Martin says it's just getting slick out there. He needs a little bit more center turn in his number 19 car. Waiting on the tire call. We'll have to wait to see. 4 tires is the call.
Kelly, another factor with the heat, the track's going to start taking rubber. Ryan Blaney saying that as the track is taking rubber for him, it's making his car a little bit tighter. Going to be 4 tires for Ryan Blaney as well. For leader Denny Hamlin, he said his car was getting tight in the center and then loose on exit. 4 Goodyear tires for him. A quick stop for Blaney and his bunch, but Denny Hamlin with a little bit longer stop. And Martin Truex Jr. will win the race off pit road. We'll see what happened to the 11.
Quite a few were passed there. Denny Hamlin got by him. Race on pit road brought to you by Kroger.
Denny Hamlin, Bolster led the first 30 laps, but on the pit stop 1st to 5th, and here's why. When the crew comes to the left side, they jack the left side up. Everything's fine. When they go to try to put the left side tires on, though, the car is not high enough. The jack man has to go back, jack it up some more. 5 positions. He's in that coveted #1 pit stall. It should be a huge advantage, but just because you're in that pit stall doesn't guarantee anything. You still have to execute. No mistakes. We'll see how good that 11 is. Now he's in traffic.
And that's what Denny had said. You can't make mistakes if you want to win this race. Now it's Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney making up row 1 as they come back to the green flag. Martin Truex Jr. out front. When I asked Martin if he thought it was going to be a fight between the Joe Gibbs Racing cars today, he, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, 3 very good cars. He said, you know what? I think Clint Bowyer looks really good. He said, that's a car that I've got my eye on, the 14.
So right there, Clint Bowyer Great example. He had just enough space to get him getting down to the bottom of the racetrack. See that fight all day long. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, both stuck on the outside.
You do not want to be on that outside. After a few corners and the space created between the 10 and the 14, now the 10 can really dive into that corner and create some great speed entering and exiting, and he takes the spot from Joey Logano. Look at that 14 diving down in the inside of the 41. Clint Bowyer, he wants that spot contact. Teammates out there racing hard. Rick, you mentioned the 3 Joe Gibbs racing cars. Well, how about 3 Stewart-Haas racing cars? Suarez in the 41, Bowyer in the 14, Almirola in the 10, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Their teammate Kevin Harvick back there in the 12th spot. Yeah, the 3 Stewart-Haas cars really throw a blanket over the top of them, Marty.
And Clint Bowyer with a fantastic run so far. You mentioned it, Rick, that other drivers were talking about how good Bowyer in that 14 car was. And isn't this how NASCAR works? The week after they eliminated the playoffs, Clint Bowyer told me, we have the best car we've had all year long. Too bad it's a week late, but Bowyer with a shot to win another Martinsville race where he's been terrific in the past, Parker.
And Marty, that car on the outside of Daniel Suarez, the 41, was super optimistic when I talked to him just a couple hours ago about how good that 41 car was here. As you see him fighting as hard as he can on the outside, he just felt like this car was one of the best he'd ever had at Martinsville. And he is not giving up on that teammate there on the inside of him. Feels like he's going to race every one of these playoffs as if anyone's the same, because he absolutely feels like this team is capable of winning, Kelly.
And then there's Eric Almirola, the 3rd Stewart-Haas racing driver, in the number 10 car, also very optimistic. Feel like they have as good a chance of winning here as they've had in some time. And now, even though they've been eliminated from the playoffs, they say they are treating the rest of the season as though it is the playoffs. Their goal still to finish it as high as they can in the season-long goals. Kuchi, Johnny Klossman are happy with the stability of that number 10 car and said their strength will be over the long run.
What a run by Daniel Suarez past the 14 on the outside. Now look at the 14. Clint Bowyer maybe puts a bumper to him.
Clint Bowyer's on fire right now. He is so angry with Suarez for racing him that hard on the outside. You can hear it in his voice. Frustrated, but Suarez, his car's good. Look at him driving away. His car is good, Junior, but this is where Mike Bugaravich, the crew chief for the 14, Rick, you talked about at the top of the show. Be a psychologist. Clint Bowyer's upset. That's the fire you want from your driver, but get on the radio, remind him. We are 87 laps to go in this stage. 457, Rick. 457 laps to go in the race. We're not 50 laps in, and your driver's already frustrated. You got to remember, Suarez, he's racing for a contract. He cannot lay over. He has to show them, I belong here. That's what he's out there racing hard for.
All of his teammates have locked up contracts for next year. Daniel Suarez has not. So does that open the door for maybe a young Xfinity Series driver? Cole Custer, who drives in the Xfinity Series for Stewart-Haas, still has not decided what's happening in 2020 as we see Ryan Blaney now under attack from the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
11 is so versatile. He can move up the racetrack, down the racetrack, roll around the curve. Watch as he works this 12 of Blaney. You want to know how you make a pass at Martinsville? Denny Hamlin is getting ready to show you. Passing another fast race car. He enters high. See, almost a groove up. That should allow him to turn down off the corner, get a great run down the front straightaway, stays within striking distance of the 12. Marty?
I think as for both of these cars, Ryan Blaney, you know, Martinsville's never been his best racetrack, he told me, but we've learned how to be better here. It's probably one of our top priorities over my career, getting better at Martinsville. We can lead laps. We need to learn how to win here. That's a big deal. Denny Hamlin certainly knows how to win here, and I think it's a testament, Steve, to how this race team operates differently as he goes underneath Ryan Blaney, trying to get him here for the 2nd position. After that pit stop, not a word said. In the past, maybe that wouldn't have been the case, but Denny Hamlin, keeping a level head, knows he has a car that can win here, and it's early in the race.
Level head, hand out the window, and appreciation for Ryan Blaney not racing him early. So guys at 11 is taking over the 2nd position. Now he sets his sight on the 19th.
Yeah, you talked about that. Entering high and coming off low. It's basically a crossover move. Lap after lap after lap, corner after corner, until you can position yourself underneath that driver below the 12 car of Ryan Blaney. Let Denny go. Then he's going to continue to use that line even when he's not trying to pass somebody. You get such a great straight run off the corner, and it protects the drive off on the rear tires over the long run. Great pass here by the 9 car. Chase Elliott going by the 42 of Larson.
That's for 14th place. Kelly?
Yeah, they show Chase Elliott officially starting 34th, and as you said, now battle up to the 14th position. One potential concern, Steve, he says his temps are getting high. His water temp at 290 degrees, oil at 300. Alan Gustafson said they'll just pull some tape off the grill next time they come to pit road. At what point do they become more concerned than that?
Well, Kelly, I like Alan's plan. Keep his driver calm. Said we're going to get some tape off it. That's one thing about traffic. Normally at a big track, find some clean air. If you find some clean air at Martinsville, you let me know. I've been looking for it for decades. It's never showed up. You're in traffic all the way around this tight half mile.
Lap 58, NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville. It's telecast presented by Coca-Cola. All right, Steve, let's take a look at some Outback curbside takeaways from Martinsville.
I'm a big fan of the curbside takeaway, Rick. Steak and lobster. You talked about it, 13 to 15 races. Had at least 11 cautions. You talk about caution-filled race. Tough to make decisions on when to pit. The last two ended on the last lap with a pass on the last lap. And the margin victory always ties 7 of the last 8 within a second.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody gets out to too much more than a second lead here. If Kevin Harvick places in the top 10 today, you get a free Bloomin' Onion with purchase on Bloomin' Monday. And right now, Harvick just outside the top 10, running 12th.
We got a great opportunity to ride along with Kevin Harvick. Got the foot cam on Brothers Pizza. Get a chance to check out what he's doing. He's going down the Brack straightaway right now. Off the throttle, immediately on the brake. Look how much brake pressure he uses. Then trails off the brake. Trying to be off that brake. Once you get about halfway around the corner, you want to be off of it.
He starts braking a little bit early, even still on the gas just a little bit. Then he kind of taps the brake, just sort of trying to keep the nose of the car from pushing up the racetrack. A little trouble on corner exit there.
Harvick's one of the drivers that we see that modulates the brake pedal. He really on and off the brake pedal more than most drivers. Chase Elliott's got a faster car right now. You see right behind him.
Chase trying that high entry crossover move in the middle of the corner, trying to get up underneath that 4 car.
Got a good run right here. I think Kevin Harvick's going to let him go. There's no need to have this battle at the moment. Good hole to get in behind him. That's how you make 500 laps at Martinsville. Good decisions. There'll be a point in the race where Kevin Harvick won't be able to make that decision that easily. But right now, 68 to go at this stage. That's the perfect time to do that. Parker.
And you guys call it there as you watch him come off the corner and you see him wiggling a little bit on entry. Just too loose inside that 4 car right now. But keep an eye on him, as you guys sort of noticed the 9 doing. He likes some of those wider entries at times. Rodney Childs were telling me, so if they can find a way to use some of those wider entries and get a better drive off, that 4 car might come back to life.
Yeah, race cars don't like to come off the corner with the wheels turned. You can't get the power down. It tries to spin the tires. So the straighter you can have the wheel, the better you can get the power down. So entering high, turning the car in the middle of the corner, and coming off straighter. That's what it's all about here. I think one thing we perhaps don't talk about enough here at Martinsville is just the amount that the track will change over the course of a race. Normally it changes dramatically from start to finish. I think it's going to be even more today because of the rain last night and because of the later start time. We're going to see the lights come on. I'm not sure anybody knows when the track cools that quickly how much it's going to change. And you already see that concrete started pretty clean, pretty new. You can see the rubber going down. Guys, that's really changing how these cars are handling.
We just saw Chase Elliott pass Kevin Harvick. Well, here he is now putting pressure on Eric Jones. Chase Elliott started dead last. Could he get stage points? He's not that far away from it. He's got Eric Jones in front of him, Kyle Busch right in front of him, Keselowski not far in front of him. He's got a lot of cars that are directly in front of him that he can go get. He could earn stage points in this first stage. That'd be a huge victory for this team.
How do you manage your emotions, guys? Because right now, you just mentioned it, Chase Elliott's about ready to pass Kyle Busch. Is that something that is more frustrating than anything, getting passed by a guy who you know started last on the field?
You can't ask 2 drivers.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yes. I thought you were asking me to manage Chase Elliott. I was like, he's got nothing to manage. Like, he's doing great. He's having a Martinsville you want to have. It's fun when you drive up through the field. Obviously, they didn't want to break an engine and lose practice and all those things, but it is a lot of fun when you can drive up through the field the way he's done it.
Yeah, right now, Kyle Busch is thinking, I just got to get my car a little bit better than Brad Keselowski's. Well, when the 9 goes by, he's going to think, no, I got to get it a lot better because that guy right there is the class of fields he's driving up through here, Kelly.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Junior. Crew Chief Adam Stevens, Crew Chief for Kyle Busch, told me they never quite hit the setup perfectly in practice. He said, that's okay. That's pretty typical for Martinsville. You really just got to keep up with the track, as you guys talked about. But right now, Kyle struggling just a little bit. He says the car kind of pulls the back end out at about the 5/8 mark in the turn. He said he's trying to get on the throttle, but all it wants to do is spin out. So we'll see what kind of adjustments they can make to help him out next time down pit road.
Yeah, drivers sometimes call that lateral grip. But you lean on that right rear tire all the way around the corner, and you want it to always have grip. He's talking about it not having grip right around the point right here when he's trying to put the throttle down, Steve. What are some of the things they can adjust in that car to giving that drive off that lateral grip?
Well, you have to come up with some adjustments and how much time do you want to use on pit road. You know, I think you could put a little left rear spring in it with a spring rubber, but that takes a lot of time on a pit stop. Track bar comes to mind instantly. Should put the back of the car in the track. I will say, though, you have to ask yourself, is the lateral grip a problem because it doesn't turn well enough and the car pushes first? Or is it something that you're actually going to have to secure up? Those are the questions I'm asking my driver. What do you really need? Start at the beginning of the corner. How's your entry? Can you get in like you want? Can you run through the middle like you want? All of those things affect that point in the corner.
Well, I can tell you who does have enough rear lateral grip. That's him. Chase Elliott, there's no way, Junior, that you can enter the corner as hard as he's entering the corner and as high as he's entering the corner without security. If your car doesn't have that lateral grip on corner entry, you got to get to the bottom sooner. If you don't, you never catch up with the back of the car. Chase Elliott has a ton of confidence. Look how much higher he enters the corner than everybody else. Kelly.
And remember, he did this with essentially no practice in first practice. They only had the final practice to work with, and crew chief Alan Gustafson told me it wasn't until their very last run in that final practice that they finally hit on it, and he felt like they had a car as good as anyone in the field. As for making up this ground, I asked Alan what he could expect. He said, I don't know, but we just might make it into the top 5 by the time stage 1 is done, and Chase is doing a heck of a job up to 11th right now.
Yeah, the next car he's going to have to get by will be Kyle Busch. If he wants to get to the total front, he's got to go past Mark Truex Jr., leading by 1.2 seconds. Let's take a look at who is on the move, brought to you by Chevrolet. We've talked a lot about Chase Elliott. Again, started at the very back because of an engine change that took place during the first practice. Anytime you change an engine, you have to go to the back of the field no matter where you qualify, even though he qualified second. He has made up already since the start of the race 24 positions. And Rutledge, you've got a pretty good perspective of all of the moves he's been able to make, right?
I sure do, Rick. Up here on top of the sky deck, it is an amazing view, and it's really exclusive. Come take a look at what I can see here. Only 200 people can see this, but I can see how Kyle Busch has moved just a little bit and changing that line, what an effect it makes. So, Dale, I want to know from you, is it literally a game of inches here? A few inches to the left or right can change your lap times that great and keep somebody from passing you here at Martinsville?
Yeah, as you see as they go around this racetrack, that dark area where the right side tire is putting rubber into the racetrack, you try to either go above or straddle that, because as that gets laid down, the right front tire and the right side tires tend to slide through that rubber, and the car doesn't want to turn or roll the center as well as before. So go in a little higher and maybe straddle that, or even above that, and then turn down across it in the middle of the corner. Get that good drive off.
Yeah, the driver that's made an adjustment is this driver right here, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is getting run down by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott with that high entry, straddling that rubber you were talking about. Kyle Busch changed his line. And when he did, he picked up, got faster. So in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, he's right on that curve. But watch him in 1 and 2. Drives in there, a little bit higher entry, then right there up the racetrack a little bit, straddles that curve, and then doesn't even leave on the bottom. That's helped Kyle Busch. That time, he was the 3rd fastest car on the track running that line.
He's been pretty amazing anytime he ends up on a short track. You look at the last 14 short track races, Kyle Busch has won 6 of them. And 13 of the 14, he has finished in the top 10. So anytime you go to a short track, you look at the driver of the 18, I think definitely he has to be a favorite. Right now, Kyle Busch running in the 9th position. Again, it's Mark Truex Jr. and his teammate up front. Denny Hamlin has moved up to 2nd after passing Blaney for that spot. Then Suarez, Clint Bowyer on the top 5. Eric Almirola, as we see Clint Bowyer and Suarez side by side.
Back together again. We saw right after the restart, the 14 tried to pass the 41, worked for multiple laps, but Daniel Suarez held on the top. Now the 14ers run him back down. He's got position on the bottom. Will this slower car allow the 14 to clear the 41, or will Suarez give the position up to Bowyer? Looks like this time he's going to be forced to let the 14 go.
Steve, that's a good example right there of a short run car versus a long run car. Daniel Suarez passed Clint Bowyer on the outside, drove away from him. Now this run has gone on at 56, 58 laps, and Clint Bowyer's car now is switched. Now he's better than Suarez, Parker.
And Jeff, that might be a little perplexing to Daniel Suarez because he told me before the race, the interesting thing about that 41 car is it was really good on the short run, and it was really good on the long run as well. He felt like that was actually its strength, so it's starting to get away from here, just lacking a little rear grip right now, Marty.
Parker, I tell you, Brett Griffin, the spotter for Clint Bowyer, turned his money today trying to get Clint through all this traffic and up through the field, and also keeping him calm, kind of encouraging him, saying, hey, there's 38 to go in this stage. We got a long way to go, man, and much longer in the race. Clearly, you have a great long-run car. Take care of it. Steve, how much is Martinsville about coaching and calming the driver during the day?
Well, you know, I don't know if I haven't been able to coach a driver how to drive. They have way more talent than me. That's why I was on the pit box. But the emotion of it is absolutely your responsibility. You can get off the pit box, get a drink of water, relax. Drivers are in that hot race car lap after lap with the frustration. Right here, guys, looks like you mentioned short run, long run. Jeff, looks like the 12 of Blaney has a pretty good long-run car. He's inched into the rear bumper of the 11.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney is a guy no one has talked about coming into this race, but Ryan Blaney's been pretty good here lately. Had some good runs, and he's part of that Penske race team that we've seen win here so many times. So, you know, I would not count Ryan Blaney out. He was really good in practice. See a little wave there saying thank you for working with me.
Yeah, ever since he came to Penske full-time in his 12 car, not quite been able to match the success of his teammates, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, but man, in the chase this year, in the playoffs this year, he's done an amazing job staying in the hunt, and I didn't have him in my Final Four, but here he is, running in the top three, actually running down what we think might have been the best car in that 11 car of Denny Hamlin, doing an amazing job early in this race, Marty.
And Junior consistently faster speed than Denny Hamlin here late in the run, like you guys talked about, 34 laps to go in this stage. And they not only have worked here at Martinsville, but you really can apply, Jeff, what you talked about to the entire round of 8. You know, they will tell you this is our best round of the playoffs. You look at Martinsville, where they've clearly gotten better. Texas is Ryan's one of his best racetracks, and Phoenix, where they've gotten better as well. They truly believe there is a path for them to make it to Miami, and it might just be with a win here today as he tries to get second here from Denny Hamlin.
That's a great way to serve notice that you're ready to win this championship. If you can take the fight to Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. at this racetrack, that shows that you and your team are ready for this battle.
I think a lot of people were looking at the 12 of Ryan Blaney thinking, well, he got into the round of 8, but can he advance? Well, right now he's battling for second.
This race is brought to you by McDonald's. Give your breakfast a tune-up with a delicious Egg McMuffin made with a fresh cracked egg and sizzling Canadian bacon. Wake up breakfast with McDonald's.
Let NASCAR Drive be your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with our high-definition in-car cameras, or you can select alternate camera angles to see more of the action. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. Joey Logano running in the 6th spot as we see Alex Bowman looks to be going a lap down. Now Martin Truex Jr. about to put him a lap down.
Yeah, Bowman running in the 20th position. This 19 car, ever since taking a lead on that cycle of pit stops, has really driven away from the front of the field a little bit. 2.2 second lead over Hamlin, Blaney in 3rd, Bowyer 4th.
We talked about this racetrack and how it changes and the rubber building up. Well, there it is. That's just the rubber from the right side tires actually building up on the racetrack, and it builds on top of itself. And if that gets worse, Junior, you'll see drivers have to straddle it. You see them, and sometimes it'll start coming up, and it feels like you're running over gravel.
Yeah. So that was the thing when we saw the 41 car, Suarez fade just a little bit, his teammate catch him. I was thinking, well, it could be his car, but is he moving around? Is he noticing how that is building up on the racetrack and trying to avoid it and maintain speed in his car? Marty.
Hey, Junior, I asked Denny Hamlin about the track taking rubber because it's such a warm day here at Martinsville. Clearly, he has tons of late model experience here. Obviously, a different car, but they race in much warmer conditions traditionally when Denny would run the race. And he said it's sort of like Dover. He echoed that in our pre-race show. He said you'll lay down rubber, and then under caution, you'll pick it up once again, kind of cleaning the racetrack in essence. So, Steve, I'm sure that's going to make for a big headache for the crew chiefs as they come down pit road here at the end of this stage with what changes they'll make to the car.
I think that's why it's so important for a crew chief to ask his driver at lap 5, and then at lap 20, and then at lap 50, and continue to ask how his car is driving, because I don't think it's fair to ask Denny Hamlin or Ryan Blaney to get it done with a 75 or 100 lap run. It's like, so how to drive the entire 100 laps? Give me the beginning, the middle, and the end. You kind of have to quiz them over the course of the run.
So you have to have a good memory. You have to remember back 75 laps, even though maybe you've been battling a different driver every lap. That's pretty good memory. Let's listen in to Ryan Blaney's radio.
A little bit tight in the middle though still. As the rubber clumps. 4 and 3 and 4, then 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I feel like I'm decent if I can get it right.
Talked about the rubber clumping up on the racetrack. It's just building up, and you can go above it. You can't sneak underneath it. You run very, very tight to that curb. And it'll go away completely when the caution comes out. They'll pick it all back up and then lay it all back down again. And I think we would not see this if it wasn't these warm temperatures today. It had been cold, has been all weekend. Wouldn't be clumping up like that, Bert.
Byron battling Eric Almirola for 7th. These guys have been going side by side for several laps. You know, when that rubber does start building up, Junior, now you're underneath somebody, you no longer can just run wherever you want to. It's hard to straddle it. Your right side tires get into that stuff. It's almost, again, it's like driving down an asphalt road and then you're turning slowly and getting gravel. And you hear that noise, you feel the tires sliding. That's exactly what it's like.
Man, what a move there. Almost a crossover from Eric on the 24 Byron. Thought better of it going in the corner.
16 laps to go. We're going to go NASCAR nonstop as things are going to get intense. Points about to be paid at the end of the stage. Just 8 laps to go in stage 1 of the first day to 500 from Martinsville Speedway. And this is how close it is from Kyle Larson, playoff contender, going a lap down at Martinsville. Martin Truex Jr., race leader. Now just 7 laps to go, and can he get by the 42?
Saw how he turned his car off the corner. Kyle Larson, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, Kyle
trying to battle on the outside here.
He's got to try to battle it a little bit and knock off a few laps and then hope that he doesn't run down the 3 car of Austin Dillon and lap him, so it gives the 42 the opportunity to get the wave around.
You guys talk about the 42 of Larson. This is the track I had circled for him in this round. Statistically, his worst racetrack. He just needed to come here and kind of survive, avoid major issues. You see right here, his average finish outside the top 20 at 23.6. So even 1 lap down, you mentioned it, Junior, try to stay in that free pass position now that you've been lapped. Stay close enough to the leader. Only 6 laps to go in this stage, Kelly.
And because this track has been a struggle for Kyle Larson, he has put more work into improving here than any other's place. His crew chief, Chad Johnson, said he's put more effort into this race than he's seen out of him in the last 4 years. He's been looking at other drivers' data, poring over notes. They came here with a different car, a different setup, a different approach. And he said, if nothing else, I really want to see it pay off for Kyle because he's put so much hard work into it. But Kyle's just not been able to move forward. Now he's 1 lap down, running 17th.
Yeah, Kelly, all that work put in by Kyle Larson, I mean, that's great work, great effort, but his teammate, Kurt Busch, is running 18th. They need to work on the cars some, too. You know, have Kurt Busch here running at 18th. We know how good he is here. You got to find some speed, but see right there, the 19. I don't think he's going to get to the 3. That's a big break for Kyle Larson.
That's a great point. Great point about the 1, Jeff, pointing out what kind of equipment they have. Look at this battle right here.
Yeah, Chase Elliott went around the outside of the 18, around the outside of the 41. 41 car struggling here at the end of this run. That's got Chase two spots, 2 points. He moves into 8th position now. He's trying to run that high line and get a good drive off him. Momentum on that 10 car.
Almirola, that's for 7th.
Yeah, Eric's 3 wide up there. Pretty aggressive.
Now just one lap to go for Martin Truex Jr. in stage 1. Can he get by Austin Dillon? That would keep Kyle Larson a lap down. The free pass would go to the first car a lap down. And right now it's still Kyle Larson unless the 19 gets by the 3.
On the outside trying to make it happen.
Martin Truex Jr. is going to win stage 1.
MTJ, come on.
MTJ. That is the 7th stage win this season for him, and 4th already in the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Blaney, Boyer, Logano, top 5. Elliott and Kyle Busch also collecting points. You're watching the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs. This telecast presented by Coca-Cola.
Denny Hamlin, you see accelerate, trying to close that gap. Those lap cars had the 19. 5 or 6 cars in front of the 11. The 11 wants to use that #1 pit stall to his advantage. Can he leapfrog the 19 on these pit stops, Kelly?
Yeah, well, Martin Truex Jr. said he was, quote, happy with the race car after they made a wedge adjustment last time on pit road. Then he said maybe he was just a little bit snug and could use a little bit more turn, and that number 19 car is going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Kelly Ryan Blaney with terrific long run speed. Said the car was a little too loose on entry towards the end of that run. Tied on exit, air pressure adjustment for the 12 car. You saw that gap Denny Hamlin had with all those lap cars in between that Steve was talking about. We'll see, though, if this #1 pit stall pays off. 4 Goodyear tires for him. Said the front end went numb at the end of that run. And indeed, Denny Hamlin jumps from 3rd to 2nd there, guys.
Actually holding serve for Martin Truex Jr. Nobody losing spots through the first 6.
Last night, just outside the racetrack, spending some time with some fans, running some RC cars. So you see us having a little trouble on the restart there. Ended up winning that race. Then we had a little competition on changing tires. I lost this one. This is the second one I lost this year. I guess I need to give that up. But a lot of fun, drinking Mountain Dew, hanging out with fans. And you know what goes better with a Mountain Dew is a hot dog. And I think Brut's down there in the infield maybe where we maybe you can pick up some hot dogs, Brut.
Junior, you got that right. I am at the world-famous hot dog stand where they're going to sell 10,000 of these Martinsville hot dogs this weekend. I told them to load it up. It's got the slaw. It's got the onions. I added a little mustard, a little ketchup, a little relish, and why not a little pepper? Guys, if you like, just send me your order. Just text it to me. I'll bring them up to this week myself. You guys are doing a great job up there. I just had to take a pit stop myself.
Brut, I want 12.
Yeah, go ahead and send up maybe 12 for our booth, too.
Chili and mustard and apparently napkins.
We'll need a few more napkins from the looks of things. Look at the stage 1 results. Again, those in yellow are in the playoffs, and points important as far as getting out of this round. At least one driver is going to get out based on points, and you saw no points for Kevin Harvick or Kyle Larson. Their name not on that list, finishing the top 10.
All right, we see Martin Truex Jr. is taking the top, guys. This has got to be a plan, don't you think? Going to try to the 11, let the 19 in, keep the Gibbs cars 1-2?
Yeah, that's the plan right here.
Field approaching the Geico restart zone.
Denny Hamlin slow, but Clint Boyer not playing. Oh, wow. He's like, all right, you gonna slow down that much, I'm gonna take second. So now what does that do? The next time you do this, Denny Hamlin's going to be a little less willing to work together because this might cost him 2 spots.
Could cost him a position here to the 24 car Byron. He's got the 12 right on his bumper, and he's trying to gain back a little bit of that he lost.
When you're Clint Boyer and you see the leader pick the outside and put a guy's teammate on the inside, you know what he's doing. You know what their game plan is. He knew if he could accelerate, he might be able to get at least next to the 11 car. I don't think he thought he could clear him.
But one of the better cars in practice. You don't want to give him any spots.
And now Denny Hamlin's frustrated, right? He's stuck on the bottom. He's in this battle. William Byron on the outside of him just cleared him.
Down to 5th spot. The 9 car back there, Chase Elliott, around his buddy, Ryan Blaney. Blaney with a great car, but he's dropping back a little bit. Losing positions on this restart on the inside. He also was hurt by that choice in that agreement with the Gibbs cars. When Denny didn't get that start, it cost Blaney a few spots on the inside as well.
And that starts building frustration, right? 2 teammates, they're working together, but they messed me up. It's a long way to go in this this race, but those frustrations have a way of just continuing to build on you throughout the race.
Look at this, the 14. Clint Boyer all over the back bumper of Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, he's gonna be on that bumper. It's gonna be hard to get around this 19 car. I don't know that he'll get physical, but that might be what it takes to take that position away if Martin wants to maintain it. I think he will.
It's hard for Clint Boyer, right? Clint Boyer's not in the playoffs. William Byron's not in the playoffs. You don't want to, you start hitting somebody. You don't know what's going to happen. You think you can hit them and move them out of the way. Next thing you know, they're going backwards, and you don't want to be the guy that takes an opportunity to win a championship away from somebody, but at the same time, you want to win. It's a very difficult spot to be in.
Well, I like the aggression. He's in second place because of the restart you mentioned. So Denny Hamlin on the bottom won't go basically on purpose to allow the 19 down. But he doesn't go dramatically. It allows the 14 to jump in front. Guys, not executed very well at all. Perhaps they should run side by side, and Denny Hamlin should let Truex go off of turn 2. Maybe they'd have more success.
Yeah, it just wasn't timed right. We've seen this done multiple times, and Denny either got surprised at when the 19 went. Not really sure what happened there, but it was not executed properly. Marty.
Hey guys, Truex Racing has done that for a long time here at Martinsville, usually with success, and usually it's called off late in the race. We'll see what happens, but for Clint Boyer running second right now. Burton, you brought up a great point. What do you do if you're a non-playoff driver? Junior, you were in this situation before. You came to the fall Martinsville race and won it with everybody else in the playoffs. How do you handle that? Almost you have nothing to lose, right? Why not go and move someone if you need to do it for the win?
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in. A guy that's in that position at 20 car, Eric Jones, got moved up the racetrack. Down in turn 3 and 4, lost a lot of spots. He was really fast in practice, and I was thinking about just that thing that Marty was discussing is, here's Eric Jones with a fast car. If he's ever in any kind of situation late in this race to win the race, he's definitely going to have 3 of his teammates around him that are racing for the championship, and that really handicaps his ability to be aggressive. Parker.
And Junior, I talked to his team about that and asked them that exact question. How do you race? You see him there slot in behind Ryan Newman, the 6 car. And they said, look, our mentality right now is that we are in the playoffs. We have to act that way because that's the way we are going to get better for when we're in the playoffs next year. And he said, in terms of racing people, we just have to be smart. It's no different than any other time. We're not going to do anything maybe overzealous in some respects in terms of getting into those playoff cars, but we're going to race smart and we're going to race hard because this team can be further in the playoffs than we went this year.
Dale, you mentioned the 20 got sent up the racetrack. It's really a great save contact here. They're 3 wide. I'm not sure the 20 knows they're 3 wide, or maybe they're not completely 3 wide, but Matt DiBenedetto says, no, I'm in here. This is 3 wide. He kind of runs the 3 up, which catches the 20, who goes for a big, big slide. Look at this. Wow. That's like full lock to the right. Yeah. He's working in here, and as we checking out this replay of the 20, the 88 of Alex Bowman had to come to pit road for service. We'll get a report on what exactly the issue was.
They did right side tires, Steve, but he was a lap down already. So coming in to service that car, obviously not on a scheduled stop. As we see, Eric Jones has collected it again in the 20. He's got Paul Menard behind him. And then Chris Buescher in that 37 right behind him.
Eric is struggling right here. They don't have the speed he had before, and Paul Menard was in the back of him the lap before.
We talked about how great these tires are. They do not wear very much at all around this racetrack, but they do lose grip when they get hot. And if you go sliding off in the corner like that, it's a good thing to save it, but you run the tips up on them things for several laps. It's going to be a while before they get the grip back in them.
Hey guys, just a quick update on Alex Bowman. There was a loose wheel that brought him down the pit road.
Thanks, Parker. I was wondering, as you mentioned, Rick, definitely not scheduled. So, and the problem with short track racing and one pit road, unlike in Bristol, it's just one continuous pit road here at Martinsville. Alex Bowman now multiple laps down, and it's hard to come back from that. Kelly.
I've been talking about all the work that Kyle Larson has done to try to get better at Martinsville. It just doesn't seem to be paying off quite yet. And during that stage break, the team kind of coached him through what the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. was doing.
So that 19 holds a little bit of brake pressure all the way till he gets on the throttle. So it's not a lot of pressure, 40 or 50 pounds, like he's using it to keep the nose bent. And then he doesn't get off the brake until he's on throttle.
And then after that, his crew chief, Chad Johnson, gave Kyle kind of a pep talk, said, look, I know it's frustrating, but just keep your head down. We'll get better. Hang in there.
That information is coming from the SMT data that all teams have access to other drivers' data. And they're providing that data to Kyle Larson in an effort to help him, give him some information to make him better. The problem is he's not driving the car that they're giving him the data off of, right? So I drove a lot of race cars, and you had to drive them all differently based on what they were doing. And that's something that I think in trying to help drivers, sometimes teams don't get, right? Like, I promise you, that Clint Bowyer's not driving his car the same way in second that Martin Truex is driving his in first, and they're both running about the same speed.
There's already been a lot of beating and banging on this short track. The Paperclip Martinsville Speedway. Move out of the way. Here I come. Absolutely beautiful day in Martinsville, Virginia. This aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Tuesday, a show that continues to leave us stunned. Does it again with a powerful new season. Watch TV's #1 drama. This Is Us, Tuesday on NBC. Shadows starting to creep down onto this racetrack as Martin Truex Jr. has a 1.1 second lead over William Byron, who was able to get by Clint Bowyer.
Well, we talk about it, Rick. That 24 car gone to victory lane 9 times here with Jeff Gordon behind the wheel. You know who else has gone to victory lane 9 times? Chad Knaus, the crew chief of the 24. So that combination is really, really good. The 21-year-old driver making it work. Guys, we talk about Kyle Larson and the struggle he is having here. We know how talented Larson is. Does it surprise you how quickly William Byron has been able to adapt to Martinsville?
I don't think so. William Byron has a ton of talent. We know how good he is. I mean, I say that. People say we hadn't won a race yet, but it's coming. And there's a lot of them coming. William Byron has a long future in this sport. And just to be clear, he passed Clint Bowyer, and he is running Martin Truex down.
I love it. I love the fact that Williams having a great season this late in the year, running a great race out here today. How long does he have Chad Knaus? That's the question. How long will Chad be part of this young man's career? They're certainly good together.
So the question now is, how hard was the 19 running? Was he saving tires? Is he going to just stretch his legs in front of the 24? Or is the 24 better? We're going to have to see in the next few laps.
You know, William Byron attended his first race here back in 2006. A big Jimmy Johnson fan. It's time to go through the field. Brought to you by KFC. Let's start with Kelly.
And we'll start at the top with Martin Truex Jr., who has been quiet over the radio and an outstanding start to this race. He's now led 141 laps, and it's been an outstanding playoffs. This team has easily outscored the other playoff contenders more than 30 points more, more than 20 points more than the nearest competitor, which is Kevin Harvick. Remember, at least one driver will get through to the championship race in Miami based on points alone. If they don't win this race, they want to be in position to get their own points, Marty.
William Byron sitting in second. Kelly and the booth boys mentioned a moment ago Chad Knaus. And William told me before the race, man, when I come to a place like Martinsville, I totally lean on Chad Knaus. This is a tough place for me. His best finish ever at Martinsville, 20th, sitting in second right now. Kind of strange that two drivers eliminated last week from the playoffs run second and third. Clint Bowyer sitting up there in third. Brett Griffin saying, hey, put it on cruise control, man. We have a great car, especially on the long runs. Let's ride right here for a little while. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin on fourth right now, and on pit road, they want to make some changes when Denny comes down next time. What do they want to change? Listen on the radio.
You're putting the needle just a little bit, but the pit crew could use you maybe 6 inches further right than you are. The jackman's just getting into the wall fairly close, and he needs all he can get to try to get it up.
They haven't gotten pit road clean yet today, but Chris Gabehart knows what kind of car they have, and so does Denny Hamlin, especially in the long runs, Kelly.
This tricky half-mile track was a struggle for Chase Elliott his rookie year, but he has worked hard to get better. He was runner-up here in the spring. Crew chief Alan Gustafson told me the most impressive thing about it is that this track is counterintuitive to how Chase likes to race. He has had to completely relearn how to drive here. He has done just that, running in the top 5 now. And remember, Marty, he started from the rear.
Ryan Blaney back in the 6th position, trying to get that spot from his buddy Chase Elliott. Gives him a little shove there. Blaney saying the car at the 3/4 mark a little bit too tight for him. In fact, he described it a moment ago as, quote, not good. And then a little comedy on the radio. He said, I'm not sure I'm driving very well either, but I'm doing my best out here trying to get that spot from Elliott, Kelly.
Eric Almirola's championship run ended a little bit early. Still trying to stay in playoff mode. His crew chief, Johnny Klossmeyer, told me the biggest thing they need to work on through the remainder of the series is that we see a wreck.
Wreck on the front stretch. The 13 of Ty Dillon has slowed and stopped coming off turn 4.
Grabbed our attention right in front of the leaders. Only a few cars in front of the leaders. The 13 got spun around.
Let's take a look at the way this got started. So looks like he tried to turn down right over across the nose of the 8 car of Hemrick. Yep. He turned down across the nose of the 8. Drove Hemrick onto the curb.
That's what you're afraid of when you get back there in the back. Having this kind of issue, you get into a wreck.
You're right. Top is clear. Top is clear.
Larson got through it clearly, and I think Kyle Larson was ready for that. He was the last car on the lead lap. Gives him a chance to catch his breath a little bit, make another change in his car.
Yeah, him and Harvick as well. Kevin Harvick all the way back at 15th, struggling right now. Our teammates running really well up toward the front of the field. You know he knows what they need to improve that car. It gives them a chance to come on the pit road and do that.
Well, you talk about improvements to the car. This 11 team still trying to work it out. We just heard the radio asking Denny Hamlin to make some adjustments to how he stopped in the pit box, try to help his crew out. Now Hamlin's all the way back to 4th. No lap cars in between them, though. The front 4 cars come to pit road nose to tail. This should be an advantage for Hamlin in that #1 pit stall, Kelly.
Chase Elliott will be first up on these pit stops. He pits from the 5th position. He's been pretty happy with the balance of the 9 car. He's just trying to keep up with all that rubber that's been laid down on the track. But he said overall, just okay, 4 Goodyear tires for him. Then you see the leader, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. He also said he's still pretty happy with his car. Maybe just a little bit snug through the center. He'll also get 4 Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Hey, Kelly, you can physically see Denny Hamlin pulled a little wider in the stall. We'll see if that helps the left side of the car here. Quick on the right side for the 11 team. He said the entry is okay. I can charge the corner like I want to, but the back end is really weird. He said it almost like hops on exit. Denny Hamlin, though, will lose a ton of spots here on pit road. You see it, losing 3 positions. Back with more from Martinsville. Martin Truex Jr. still the leader.
Back at Martinsville under caution, and we're on board with Chase Elliott because there are problems for this playoff driver. They think there is a broken axle. Chase said, I think it is on the right side. They have just called him to come back down pit road. You'll see the replay here of his pit stop under that last caution. And then see Chase trying to drive away. They have just now brought him back down. And they're yelling at the crew right now to attend to the right side axle on this number 9 car who's now sitting on pit road, and we are just moments away from the restart. So this is going to cost them some valuable time and laps here at Martinsville.
Kelly, I didn't see the left side. The left rear tire didn't spin when he left pit road.
Well, how the locker works, if either axle breaks, it's going to really confuse the rear gear to understand which tire is trying to put power down. The most important thing is that the 9 sits to make repairs. Here comes the field for the restart.
48 had smoke coming out. They must have made contact on pit road. They came back to pit road a second time. As Martin Truex Jr. has surged ahead. Now the fight for second. Ryan Blaney, and on the outside, Clint Boyer.
Oh, it's smoke out of it, too, Keselowski.
And he's got more smoke down in turn 3 and 4 out of that car. Must be a tire rub happening in the corners.
The 48 hit the 13's tire on pit road. That's why they had the damage. A lot of smoke still coming out of the 2 of Brad Keselowski now.
He's got a left rear tire rub.
Yeah, we're going to see it right here. Just, oh, yeah, you can see the damage and the smoke. The concern is, if that's the tread of the tire, pretty thick, not a lot of problem. If that's the sidewall, especially where the sidewall and the tread meet, that can be very, very thin. It won't take a long.
Corner 2 out back behind you.
Second is won by Boyer. Ryan Blaney running third now.
That rub is high up on that sidewall, guys. We'll see how long it lasts. See if the sheet metal can get hot enough to clearance itself, or if it gets hot, sometimes it folds in on itself as the 18 squeezes inside the 22.
Yeah, Joey didn't want to let him down there. It all got bottled up. Clint Boyer got by the 12 of Blaney. It kind of bottled everybody up behind him. Made a huge race from the bottom into 1.
And still on pit road is the 9 of Chase Elliott.
And Rick, I think you called it. I now have seen the team go from the right to the left side. you know, it's hard to judge which tire is broken, which axle is broken, or is it a gear? You know, we're still assuming it's an axle until they remove a broken axle. I don't think we can confirm that.
If it's a gear, Steve, it's really hard to get that out. They're so hot. You see so many times they'll catch on fire when you take them out. Kelly.
After working on the right side axle on that number 9 car, they've been yelling for someone to go get the left side axle. They've had to go back to the hauler in the garage to get one, but now they're calling to change the left side as well.
Rick, you called it when the car left.
Yeah, that left rear tire didn't ever spin. Just kind of rolled off, and so they're spending so much time on pit road right now, losing so many laps
and points. And points. The points are just plummeting for the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Martin Truex Jr. continuing to lead. Clint Boyer behind him. Then it's Blaney and William Byron running in 4th, and right behind him, Joey Logano.
Steve, don't you think it's interesting that here at Martinsville, 9-car Hendrick team broke an axle? We also saw an axle problem with a Penske car at Dover a few weeks ago.
Yeah, these mechanical gremlins are somewhat gremlins, and somewhat because all of these components have become part of tuning here at Martinsville. You actually can run 2 different diameter axles. Because they're 2 different lengths, you run different diameters to try to get the torque the same on both rear tires. But we're only talking 192 laps into the race, so you would imagine this is something that must have had to break when they drop the jack. It's just crazy, right, Jeff? And the 22 doesn't even take the green flag at Dover. Here's the 9 with a mechanical issue. They broke an engine to start the weekend. They broke an engine at Dover to start the race.
Well, this is one time that, you know, these teams don't communicate a whole lot. They're in complete competition, but when you start having problems with similar components, then the teams will start talking, and they'll start sharing a little bit of information for the better of both teams. Be interested to see if that happens on Monday.
Well, I've got to remember, this is Hendrick Motorsports' only playoff car, right? Everyone else is eliminated. Jimmie Johnson didn't make it. The 88 and the 24 were eliminated before this round.
Yeah, and remember the 9 broken engine here. First practice early in that practice, so tough mechanical weekend for the 9 car.
Gingerly, the 9 of Chase Elliott rolled out of his pit stall and is going to the garage.
So we see that this 10 has trying to work around the 11 of Denny Hamlin. That 11 car started the race so strong, but as the track has changed and then the bottom of the screen, you're on board with the 9. This is a lonely drive. You do not want to go into the garage. Now, they'll be able to return. I know there's that damaged vehicle policy. People get concerned. He's not on any sort of clock. It's a mechanical failure. They can repair the car and return. The issue is currently 37th out of the 38 cars that started the race. This is a track that doesn't normally have many DNFs. Right. Even the cars that have accidents usually can continue, so it's hard to make up points by continuing to run.
Pretty interesting right here, Denny Hamlin. He was a guy we've all been talking about, had the best car, thought he had really good speed. He is falling back. You know, he's only in 7th, but this is the team you expect to run up front the whole race, and Eric Almirola's putting a lot of pressure on him. Truex, his teammates, still leading. Kyle Busch, his teammates, in front of him. So right now, this 11 car, they're going to have to make some changes if they're going to get better, Marty.
And, Jeff, I think those changes really need to happen here on pit road. They have struggled on pit road today. They've lost a collective 5 spots so far for Denny Hamlin. That certainly doesn't help. The restart that didn't go well certainly didn't help either, as Eric Almirola pressures him here for the 7th position. I think they know they have a car that can contend today, although the last run, Denny was a little concerned. Stevie said the car was literally kind of hopping off the corner, a weird feeling he had almost never had here at Martinsville before, as Eric Almirola tries to get that spot.
That can be so hard to adjust when you have something that you've never heard as a complaint. What knob or dial do you turn? What adjustment does it need? Is it air pressure? Is it wedge? You see Eric Almirola drives underneath the 11, and he's going to move on.
Marty mentioned issues on pit road. Well, none bigger than the 48 of Jimmie Johnson coming out of his pit stall. Hits the tire of the 13 of Ty Dillon that was being carried, and also he hits the 2 of Brad Keselowski. So that's why we saw the damage on the left side of the 2. Coming up on 52 laps to go in stage 2 of NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs. Telecast presented by Coca-Cola. Make sure on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Join the morning drive because Jeff Burton will be there. That's NASCAR Radio Channel 90, NBC Sports on Sirius XM. And Burton, always fun when you're able to join the Bagman and Pete Pistone.
Yeah, great conversations. I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about after this race. And then looking forward to Texas.
Joe Logano improving his car as this race goes on. Closing in 5th spot right now, working on Byron. There you see the Cruz trying to fix this 9 car for Chase Elliott. Everybody over at Hendrick Motorsports working on that car.
I even saw the boss walk by. Mr. H is over there overseeing what's taking place. There he is again. Kelly.
And you can see various crew members from the other Hendrick teams come over to lend a hand. Alan Gustafson and Chase from inside the cockpit of the car have gone through just about everything that they think it could be as they're changing the gears now on this 9 car as well. Alan has told them to also have a look at the clutch, and as you said, or as we saw, Chase said it just felt like one wheel wanted to go and the other one didn't.
Joe Logano, he's improved his car. Him and his teammate both. I mean, Blaney's been fast, but when this race started, Logano didn't have great speed, was fading a little bit. Keselowski dropped back outside the top 15. He's worked his way back in the top 10. Logano, though, working over this 24 car. Let's talk about the line he's running, trying to figure out how he can get closer to that guy and make a pass.
Joe Logano, you see right there, nobody's really just wrapping around from the curve, are they? They're all using a lot of racetrack in the middle of the corner. I think as the run goes on, they'll use even more. You see William using a little higher entry. Right there, Logano trying to leave on the very bottom.
Down into the brakes here, right to the curb. A little bit of a diamond in the center, gets up, back down off the corner, down the straightaway.
It's interesting, William Byron's line on corner exit, not really on the bottom of the racetrack. You know, look, not really on the curve. Look at where Logano is. Logano's running a traditional Martinsville. Hit that curve, leaving the corner. Yep. William Byron's using way more racetrack on exit.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now, and you see Logano closed just a little bit when that 24 takes a little bit higher diamond in the center of the corner. I think we're at the point in this run now where that rubber is starting to stack up in that groove, right where the right side tires run, and trying to avoid that probably is going to be better for grip and speed, Marty.
You guys are right. Joey Logano's made massive improvements to that car. Todd Gordon's made several changes on the stops. In fact, a moment ago, he said, we are way better on this run taking off, and we haven't paid the price in the middle of the corner yet. Logano's certainly good at Martinsville, and they know how important this race is, guys. Todd Gordon says this is the second most important race of the year because you can punch your ticket to Miami. I think one important note to make, Parker, is that we're really seeing the track change a little bit, and you're going to see different guys up front than we saw earlier in the race.
For sure, Marty, and one of those cars that you might not see up front, though, is the 4 of Kevin Harvick, currently running in 15th position. Remember, he started this race in 22nd, and in stage 1 drove his way all the way just outside the top 10. Felt like they were making progress on it, but then he started to drop like a rock just within that last caution, and this is what he had to say under the caution.
I mean, that's absolutely horrible. That made it worse everywhere. So let's try to change something to make it have more grip, not less.
And he recently expanded on that to say if we don't get this right rear in the racetrack, we are in big trouble. A lot of pressure on the 4 car to get it handling right.
Somebody else in trouble. Talked about it earlier, Denny Hamlin. Right now under pressure from Keselowski. This is not what we expected. This is where we talked all week, right? All week about how much effort's gone into this 11 car at Martinsville. This is their race to win, and be performing like this early has got to be disappointing.
Yeah, I'm real surprised by how this car's run on this particular set of tires. I'm sure Denny can't wait to get them off and get some adjustments and try something else. Brad's being really good to him right here.
Great point. Denny's kind of taking advantage a little bit of the situation. He knows that Brad knows he's in the playoffs. He hopes Brad will cut him a break. Marty.
Just trying to hang on to that 8th position right now. And Jeff, you were talking about the preparations that went into this race for the 11 team. When did they start preparing for this fall Martinsville race? How about 2 days after the spring race? They made Denny Hamlin come to the simulator, run a simulated race, run 2 simulated practice. Remember, Chris Gabehart, as crew chief, was in Xfinity for many years, so he hadn't been here. He had a whole list of things he wanted Denny to try. They put a massive amount of effort into this one race, thinking this was their best shot to get to Miami so far. And again, we're only 222 laps in, not even halfway, but they are not very happy with where they're at with the 11 machine.
That's asking Denny Hamlin, one of the guys I think is probably the best at getting around Martinsville, to get better at Martinsville. You know, I've never heard of a driver running an entire simulated race on one of the manufacturer simulators before.
And I have to wonder, these shadows now, is that affecting the track and the way the crew chiefs need to set up these cars? There's the Mobil 1 Peacock pit box. That's where you'll see post-race coverage coming from right after today's race. And then it's victory lap and proving grounds taking place after today's race. Again, the first opportunity to lock a spot into Miami in the championship 4. Right now it's Martin Truex Jr. But Clint Bowyer, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano all looking stronger later in this run.
And Rick, 20 laps from halfway. But when we talk about 500 laps, how long it is, we have seen a broken axle. The 48 had damage on pit road. Brad Keselowski had a left rear tire rub. Denny Hamlin was good early. He's fallen back. Now it's Truex. And that's not even in the first. I mean, we haven't even got to halfway yet.
Yeah, Steve, this track has continued to change, right? So a lot of times in this racetrack, we see somebody that's really good early, but not so good late. I believe these Penske cars, this 12 of Blaney, 22 of Logano, I think that this cooling track, right now, it's shaded at 1 and 2. This cooling track, I think, is benefiting them. Marty.
And you got to wonder if that's the case, because the 22 has come alive, and Blaney, who's been solid all day long, seems to be even better, especially early in the run. Remember, Blaney's had that long run speed, but Joey Logano and his team have made that 22 better. And I think you're right, Jeff. This weather is changing out here. It's important to note. I think the track's going through its first big swing of the day, and you see these Team Penske cars coming to life.
Looked like no contact between that 12 and 14 off turn 2. A little bit of fitter damage on the right front of the 12. Here he is. Leans on the bump just a little bit.
Clint was loose before he got to him, though. That's racing. That's just Martinsville. You can't, if you're Clint, you got to not get mad about that, right? That's just Martinsville racing. He knew he got loose before Blaney got to him. Here comes Logano. He's going to beat a Clint really soon. Now Logano saw all that. He knows that 14's got a problem with rear grip. He's going to try to push the issue.
See the 9 rolling out of the garage right now. He'll be coming back on the racetrack, but he's quite a few laps down, currently running in the last position, 38th. You know, Timmy Hill, that was a spot ahead of him, is already 31 laps down. Looks like 52 laps down for Chase Elliott.
Well, they're in a must-win now, right, guys? I mean, I don't see any way around it. We'll have to go to the next two races and win.
Yeah, barring a major catastrophe early in the race next week that takes up a bunch of players, or still have a wreck here.
I'm sorry, I may have gotten ahead of myself there.
I have seen some steam come out of a radiator here in a restart. It could happen again.
48 points back for the 9 team. 42 of Kyle Larson is 42 points below the line. The 4 of Kevin Harvick, 28 points below that cutoff line. And again, we mentioned at least one driver will make it on points into the championship 4. But a win, and you move on. Riding along with Joey Logano, he's running in the 4th spot. It's still Martin Truex Jr. Ryan Blaney has been able to pass Bowyer. He's up to 2nd. Bowyer now running in the 3rd position. Logano 4th. And William Byron is 5th.
Truex caught 17 and a 0-0. Had to really push the issue to get by him. Blaney was running him down. Truex trying to be calm, but just couldn't be calm any longer. Had to go.
Will Blaney be able to clear them both through 3 and 4? He's going to get to the inside, sure enough.
Look how close he is now.
And that's the gap. So Ryan Blaney trying to chase down Martin Truex Jr. with 19 laps to go. Can he catch him? If he does, what will he do? We're going to go NASCAR nonstop. You won't miss a thing for this battle for the lead.
Back at Martinsville, 11 laps left here in stage 2. Clint Bowyer coming to pit road with a flat left rear tire. Not a playoff driver, but running in the top 5 consistently today. Man, this one's going to hurt for Bowyer.
Well, you think it hurts
worse now?
Yeah, they changed the left sides. It's a flat right rear tire for Clint Bowyer. They came out, they put brand new lefts on it. The right rear tire is going flat. Watch, this is not going to work. He's going to go down to the corner.
Yep.
Sits on the right side track bar, up the track.
Coming inside, lined up. Still
The
coming inside,
right
lined
rear
up.
tire is flat on the 14. You see it. It was not a left side tire. When you pit under green, guys, you got to put 4 tires on it. I know you want to try to save a lap, but this is the risk. I've made this call and been wrong before, so.
We'll just force NASCAR to throw a caution. Yeah.
He was trying to get down the racetrack, but he couldn't. And now the caution has come out.
Sorry, Rick. The left rear tire had all the writing rubbed off of it, so they just assumed it was a left rear. All along, it was a right. And I know people at home were like, why didn't Clint know that? It's harder to know that than you would think.
I know. And here's the thing. You're going to lose 45 seconds regardless. Man, you might as well lose 50, 49 and put 4 tires on. It's so easy to say from up here. But I know why they changed 2. I know what they were thinking, trying to save that lap, but this is the negative. They're going to have major issues.
Steve, could there be something else wrong? Because the left rear quarter panel is actually dragging the racetrack.
Well, I think it runs so low that perhaps it got down. I don't know. And, well, the answer is yes, absolutely. Something else could be wrong. Maybe the flat tire damaged something out. Big decision. Do you go after points at the end of the stage? Do you pit? It looks to me like with 68 laps on the tires, everyone comes to pit road, Kelly.
And as soon as Cole Pearn, crew chief for Martin Truex Jr. and this 19 team was told that pit road was open, he immediately made the call to bring Martin down pit road. And Martin has been really quiet on the radio as he has had to work his way through traffic throughout this. The call now, 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for the 19, Marty.
Coming down pit road, Ryan Blaney saying his car was looser in and looser on exit. You see a track bar adjustment going on there. Bottom of the screen, little left-hand corner, you see Joey Logano going to make 4 tire change as well. Their car also 2 free. A lot of drivers talking about how the track has gone through a swing here. Martin Truex Jr. with a nice stop for that bunch. Kyle Larson stayed on the racetrack. Going to be an interesting end to the stage here with just 7 to go. Going to get the green with about 5 to go.
Well, if it's possible, next week the excitement in the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs is going to get bigger at Texas Motor Speedway. There's always lots of fun and interactive things happening at the track in No Limits, Texas. Go to NASCAR.com/tickets to purchase your tickets today. Kelly.
Chad Johnston, crew chief for Kyle Larson and this 42 team, doing a little strategy. They stayed out. Here's why.
You know, obviously you're going to be a disadvantage on tires, but hot tires take off better than cold. Not that many laps to go, so we'll just have to fight for everything we can, try to get some stage points.
And he finished by saying, worst case scenario, we wind up 18th, 4 spots worse than we would have.
Well, I actually think worst case scenario is you get hooked from behind and get wrecked. Yeah. That's my concern for the 42. I mean, listen, I don't hate the gamble. I know what he's trying to do.
3 laps. Yeah. He's fighting for 3 laps right now to finish in the top 10.
Watch what it does to Blaney in that inside line. How are they going to deal with this?
He actually gets a better restart than the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., but he tucks in behind him. Blaney has to check up. Now Blaney hard charging on the inside for second.
They know it's a race to Kyle Larson. They know he's on older tires. And who's the first one to get to him?
Kyle Larson hanging on right now as he comes out of 4. Now he'll see the white flag one more time around. 2 more times around, excuse me. 2 more times around.
So the fact that he got out in clean air, I don't think he will still win the stage. I think Truex is going to perhaps get to him, but it's going to be a huge gain from the 14th position he was running in before the pit stop.
Larson now has the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. behind him. Now it's 1 to go. The final lap in stage 2.
Larson to the very bottom of the racetrack, just trying to slow everybody up in the middle of the corner. Truex, huge run on the bottom.
He's going to try to get to the inside, trying to win this stage. Side by side through 3 and 4. Martin Truex Jr. fights for it, and he'll win stage 2.
A+ call by Chad Johnson.
second.
9 points. 9 points. When we leave Phoenix in 2 weeks and the 42 car makes it on points, go back to Martinsville and then 9 points at the end of stage 2. Crew chief, big call, restart. Well done by Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson stays out. A big strategy call by Chad Johnson, crew chief for that team. He was able to hold on for 2 laps, but then the last one, it was Mark Truex Jr., the only one that was able to get by him. He finishes second.
Defending NASCAR champion Joey Logano. Looks like a choir boy. Right up until he puts you in the wall.
Truex not happy. Some might not like it.
Just thinking about Miami.
He's old school ruthless, but you never know it to look at his face. To get that, just look at theirs.
Joey Logano fighting back.
That's NASCAR racing.
The NASCAR playoffs from Texas. The best racing is now.
Getting ready to the final stage of Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville Speedway.
Martinsville flashback. Thinking about my buddy John Andretti. Jeff Gordon and I, we thought we had a battle amongst ourselves. John Andretti came and passed both of us. John Andretti, 2 Cup wins, won an IndyCar race, drove a top fuel drag car. He was the first guy to ever run the Indy double. Had to be a great feeling getting the King in victory lane at Martinsville, where the King won so many races. Thinking about my buddy John today.
And I'm sure he's watching as we see Mark Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney getting close to the Geico restart zone. Truex Jr. on the inside, Blaney on the outside.
Truex gets a good drive off, using that inside line to his advantage. Blaney clearing his teammate nicely into second place. Battle races on behind him. Denny Hamlin sliding up the track there. Keselowski. Eric Jones getting into it.
Now Brad Keselowski saw an opening, tries to get to the inside of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Maybe puts the bumper to him.
I think Brad got in the corner a little hot. Kind of loose. Trying to stay out of the back of the 11 car.
Always tense times, these restarts. You have to go. You got to go get some when you can.
This is Martinsville, basically, in a nutshell right here. You've run half the race. We've talked the same names over and over. And then here, Ryan Newman shows up in the 11th position. Austin Dillon up inside the top 15. Kevin Harvick, the one of Kurt Busch. This is a racetrack, Rick, that you can hang around on that lead lap. Hang around all day long. You never know how the cautions are going to come, how the restarts are going to go.
Great shot right here, Hunt Brother Pizza Cam. And this is an example. We've seen Kevin Harvick struggling all day. Sees people stuck on the outside trying to take advantage of it. Suarez gets to the bottom, and that's frustrating because you thought you had him. Now you got to keep the pressure up. A little bit of a run. Going to show Suarez. It's my spot. Suarez, he took the bait, gave him the spot. Maybe a little teammate help right there.
Yeah, it looked like Suarez. Oh, he gets a good run off. Now he's going to take the bottom back. At some point, you have to get aggressive. When does that switch happen? When does Harvick and these guys start to use that front bumper? Running out of patience with the guys they're racing around.
Yeah, because look what's behind him. Kyle Larson, that whole group of cars behind him. You feel the pressure from that. It's not only are you on offense, you also have to play a little bit of defense, because if you get chucked up off the bottom and they start lining up on the inside of you, you can lose a ton of spots right here.
Larson with a great run off turn 2 to the inside of Harvick, down into turn 3.
This is where Harvick's got to be smart. He sees it right now. He's got a hole. There's a hole to go in. He decides to fight. Let's see if that works for Harvick or not. They're too wide behind him.
Has Larson gotten better throughout this race as we see him make the pass on Harvick, take 13th away?
I don't know. I don't know that Harvick's gotten better. You know, Harvick has struggled all day. I think Larson's gotten better than Harvick, but But that's who we're comparing him to right now, is Harvick, and I just don't think Harvick's good enough.
I agree. I think it just says more about Harvick's car and the struggles they're having as he loses that spot. That's really uncharacteristic for Kevin here.
Kevin won a race here, but it's been a long time since Kevin won here.
And an unfamiliar position for Kevin Harvick as well. He came in to this race and this round of the playoffs in the bottom 4, which he hasn't done in quite some time. So now Kevin Harvick needs to fight for positions and points, although he has been very good at Texas and Phoenix, the 2 races that are coming up next.
On the top of your screen, you see Suarez, the Stewart-Haas car, then Larson, Chip Ganassi Racing. But this Stewart-Haas car, the 10 of Eric Almirola, he's right up inside the top 5, top 7 all day long. He's been in the top 10 all but 1 lap today. The 24 of William Byron as well, running up front all day. Here they currently are running 4th and 5th. We continue to talk about the track change and how Hamlin was good, Truex is taking over. Well, these 2 cars have kind of stayed in the same position. Different players around them, but they've stayed right here.
Really good battle. Truex has driven away from this group. We've seen that over and over on restarts.
It looks like Blaney maybe not quite as good as he was beforehand, and as this track transitions and we get a lot more shade, a lot more cooler temps. How's it affecting these cars, Marty?
You got it. Ryan Blaney just came on the radio, Junior, a moment ago and told Jeremy Bowles, man, the change you made really hurt us. I am plowing tight right now. So what do you do here, Junior? Do you hold your teammate back there? You know you got a good car. Do you know track position starting to mean everything in this race? Do you let your teammate go, or do you fight him for this second spot?
Yeah, you got to fight him. He's got too many guys behind him in line that could cost you a lot of positions, so you have to fight. And you just hope that your teammate's struggling too. He's behind you, but maybe his car ain't great either.
That's right. You know Truex is better, but you don't know the guys behind you. You don't know what they got. Now you get ready to find out.
Yeah, Joey Logano.
Yeah, I'm going to show you, but that was a great example. Joey Logano just showed him, hey, look, I'm quicker. And that right there wasn't a hit to knock him out of the way. It was a hit to say, look, I'm better than you are.
Oh, look at that.
Same way that view to the bottom was. Thought it happened again.
That's 3 turns in a row. He's ran in the back of that 12 car. Ryan Blaney, you got to give it to him. He's still holding that bottom. He's not moving over, not letting his teammate by. That's 4 corners in a row.
But what do you do if you're Blaney?
Blaney's the new Ryan Newman.
Well,
today
he doesn't have any space.
5.
He doesn't have any space to go. The 10 car of Almirola's right behind Logano. So if you give this spot up, he's going to not cut him off this time.
All right, he dives it down in there. Blaney obviously sees it. He's in the quarter panel. Got to be careful. We've seen them flat tires happen. Cars making contact. All right, now that's 6, 7. I don't know how many. We've lost count.
Hit him early.
He just shoved him out of the way right there.
He hit him earlier in the corner that time. That time he got him on corner entry.
All right.
Hit him out of the way. When you hit somebody in the middle, you're not really going to hit him.
Oh, is it going to get in there?
Blaney knows. He knows he's going him up.
I thought he might give it back to him.
I don't think Roger Penske would be laughing at what just took place between his 2 cars racing for position. Tonight in Kansas City, Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers leads the 6-1 Packers at Arrowhead to face Travis Kelce. The 5-2 Chiefs. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern. A football night in America. That's only on NBC. 207 laps to go in the first day to 500. Eric Jones, a left rear tire flat on that car. He came to pit road. Parker.
Guys, he was inside the top 10. He had a little bit of damage there. It felt like that maybe rubbed the tire down. You see it right there.
And they were having a problem actually getting the jack underneath the left side. You saw the jack underneath the fuel cell, jacking the car up to put the spare jack underneath the left side jack post. A long stop on the 20.
Steve, we've seen a lot of flat tires, and it's basically guys having contact with the left rear. And they got these cars so low to the ground now, the left rear quarter panel basically hangs over the side of the tire.
Yeah,
that's got to be tough for the crew chiefs.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of room for that left rear quarter panel to get pushed in. The other thing I asked myself is, you know, are the right rear tailpipes hitting the left rear tire when they make contact in the middle of the corner? I do agree with you. The quarter panel is a big issue, but those tailpipes, I've seen it tested a few times. Tailpipes first tires, tailpipes undefeated.
A really good battle right here. Denny Hamlin working over Kyle Busch. Denny doing what Denny Hamlin does on corner entry. Just has it opened up. Really high entry. Look at that. Look how much higher he is than the 18. Gets the car to turn. Leaves with a lot of rear grip.
He's not able to take that line and use it as an advantage. He's basically kind of maintained his position and speed. Not able to get those runs that he wants to create up off the corner for this 11 car.
If the 2 car gets any closer to him, he won't have that as an option anymore. See right there, the 2, right in the left rear quarter panel. So he leaves that hole open for the 2 car. Now the signal has been sent. Now the 11 car's got to quit that. He's got to start entering on the bottom, and now his car doesn't drive good.
Nope. Seems like they haven't improved that 11 car.
That's Martinsville, right? You want to do exactly what Denny did. Open up the entry. Get that turn. That's great when you're by yourself, but the minute somebody puts pressure on you, now you can't do it because they're going to fill that hole.
12, 24 cars are battling it out here. Byron has passed 10. Eric Almirola for 4th place. And drove right up to the back of this 12 car. Blaney, who's still struggling with a tight race car, rolling around that bottom, Marty.
Junior, how frustrating is Martinsville? Well, Ryan Blaney knows it. And when your teammates running you pretty hard, doesn't make things much better. Here's what he had to say on the radio.
If you would have tried to race me this fast instead of moving me, I would have probably let him go.
That's the clean part of the radio that we can use. Ryan Blaney was not very happy with how Joey Logano raced him. He gave up that spot, now sitting in 3rd with an extremely tight car, as you mentioned, Junior. And now William Byron's trying to get around him for that 3rd spot.
Blaney's been really smart as far as doing only what his car can do. Now the 24's underneath, but Blaney's been rolling that bottom really tight and slow. He's making everybody really have no other choice but to run into the back of him. Just bump him and say, hey man, I want to get through here. You're much slower than I am. So, but the 24 using that sort of crossover move, is able to get underneath Blaney off the corner, make the pass.
With a tight race car, when you get to the middle of the corner, you just slow everybody up. And even when they hit you in the back, your car's tight. It's hard to knock you out of the groove. That's why we saw Logano eventually have to hit him on corner entry when the car wasn't loaded up. So Ryan Blaney doing a really nice job of playing defense here. Parker.
And guys, there's Kevin Harvick, who's currently running 11th, but we talked earlier about how much he was struggling inside that Ford car. No rear grip. He restarted in 16th. He's driven up to 11th. It really seems like that car is coming alive. He's starting to turn lap times that are top 3 fastest on the racetrack. And I think this goes a little bit what you're seeing there, guys. Look at that shade starting to come over this racetrack. We talked about the transitions are happening. They've made some big changes on that Ford car, but I think the racetrack has come to him as well.
Right in front of them, Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman been side by side since basically we went back to green flag. Newman's drove in that school bus up into the drove it up into the top 10 here, and he don't want to give it up.
You're not allowed to pass a school bus, right, Junior?
Kurt feels like it's as big as a school bus, I promise you. Both these guys running good, though. Kurt, we talked about him earlier, not running well. He's running in 10th, Newman in 9th.
And the idea, like we talked about Blaney rolling around on the bottom, giving nobody an opportunity but to just go run in the back of him to get around him. Newman, on the other hand, gives Kurt all the room in the world. Here, at the whole bottom. Try to get by me. He hasn't been able to do it.
But that's frustrating. You just can't even hit him.
Yeah, you can't hit him. Give me plenty of room.
You know, we're having fun. I don't know if they're having as much fun as we are.
We always have fun.
I'd like to think they are. Yeah. You know, even though a lot of this is frustrating, Kurt trying to pass his 6. In the end, he's going to get out and go, you know what? That's a lot of fun.
Kurt on the curb right there in the left front tire.
Yeah, this is racing right here, what these guys are doing.
And Harvick's behind it doing, guys. Come on, man. Just let me go.
Somebody do something. Create a hole for me.
See Harvick, that high entry, trying to leave on the bottom. Just not enough turn in the middle with enough drive on next to him to make it work.
That was crazy. I was waiting on him to get on the gas. They are waiting forever around this corner until you get into the throttle right there real late on these long runs. Waiting on these cars to roll around. How about this, guys? A new player, the 43 of Darrell Wallace Jr., up to the 12th position. Decent run for this 43. Car continues to get better. A little bit of damage on the left side. Looks kind of like most every other car out there, but he actually, as Harvick caught the Newman-Kurt Busch battle, that's allowed
Darrell Wallace Jr. to kind of close in on the back of the fourth.
Yeah, Darrell probably pretty comfortable here with 2 truck wins. Probably comes here to this racetrack thinking, man, I love this place. I can probably be a part of helping us run well.
Let's take a look at today's lap leaders, brought to you by Mountain Dew. Martin Truex Jr., 275 and counting as far as laps led here. He led 262 laps in his previous 27 starts at this racetrack. He won stage 1 and stage 2. He's trying to sweep again. Martin Truex Jr. out front looking for his 3rd short track win of the season. Wednesday night hockey on NBCSN has a Central Division matchup this week as the Minnesota Wild face off against the reigning Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. That's Wednesday night hockey, 8 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. You're watching the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs. This telecast presented by Coca-Cola as the sun's setting behind the grandstands here at the Paperclip. Martin Truex Jr. putting on one of his best performances at a short track. 283 laps now led as Logano is under fire from William Byron for the 2nd spot.
Byron having a great run today. This is the most he's ever ran in the top 5 or the top 10 in a cup race before. Pounding this 22. He's trying that high entry. But when he turns down, he can't get the power down. And the 22's there. Can't get underneath him.
In Joey's hands, basically everything to the left. Never a motion, just a little small motion to the right. That tells me Joey's car is tighter than he really wants it to be. See right here, just on the wheel, just all the way to the left all the time, except when he heads to the straights. And then passing this lap car, he's underneath the car. See right there, the 00 Landon Castle, how much difficulty he had getting by that lap car. That also tells me he's tight.
I'm just impressed with William. If he's stock on the market, I'm buying it because this guy's got a bright future. And he's showing it this year. Last year, not a great season. This year, with Canals, he made a lot of gains. Just kind of slowly getting there, methodically. And here he is at a tough short track.
He's a kid with a year of trucks full-time, a year of Xfinity full-time. 21 years old, go cup racing. 20 years old, he went cup racing. I mean, that's crazy. Marty.
Fun battle there for second. There were some changes for the Team Penske cars on pit road this weekend. Graham Stoddard moved over to Joey Logano's car. You saw the 22 a moment ago. He came off with a 12 car. Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney gets the entire 2 pit crews, getting one of the top 5 pit crews on pit road. And you could tell in his comments this weekend, Jeff, that Ryan, yeah, it's great for on-track performance, but he told me, I know those guys. I know their families. I know their kids. I'm close to those guys. So for me, I understand the business side of it. The personal side of it is tough. Yeah, I want to win races. I want the best pit crew on pit road. You see the battle for second there. Looks like William Byron's going to get it. But when you make those pit crew swaps, Jeff, it puts the driver in a very interesting position, doesn't it?
It does. You want the best pit crew you can get, Marty, but you went to battle when the year started with your guys, right? And you got here together, and it's a tough call. You want the best pit crew with the guys that are in the playoffs, and if the company thinks that's the thing to do, then that's probably what you should do. But it's tough not only for the driver, but the crew chief as well. It puts everybody in a difficult situation. But listen, I'm not going to fault upper management at Penske. They think pit crew off the 2 is better than the 12. Let's give the 12 a better chance to win a championship. And those are the kind of moves you have to make.
It was a 4-second lead when William Byron was able to get by Joey Logano. Martin Truex Jr. has now 3.8 seconds separating. Run.
Guys, I can't help but notice that we're not seeing a lot of those brake issues that we've seen at Martinsville of the past. Steve, I'm wondering, are there some new tips and tricks that some of the teams are using with the new brakes today, or is it the package that's kind of changing how much the drivers rely on the brakes?
You know, Rutledge, I really think it has a lot to do with the rules. The braking systems as a whole have actually been locked in by rules for a couple of years as far as discs and calipers and what the teams can run. I think, one, the cooling has improved dramatically. The teams are getting smarter with cooling. The drivers are becoming smarter and smarter with how much brake they have left at each racetrack. And then that big spoiler, why aerodynamics is not a big conversation at Martinsville, it's still a parachute. And even here at Martinsville, it helps slow that car down when they get off the gas.
Steve, you called it. This 43 of Bubba Wallace. He has passed Kevin Harvick. Now he's putting pressure on Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman running ninth. Bubba Wallace trying to get into the top 10.
And you guys said at the top of the show, sorry, Junior, about this being a driver's racetrack. So Bubba Wallace really got to, feel good about this. This has got to build the confidence on the driver that's really had a struggle this year and has been open about his struggles, but here he is doing his best work.
Let's call Ryan Newman. I think that's where it ends. He's going to have a hard time. Look, he's going to drive in there. Oh, man, that's tight. Contact right there. Oh, man, that was close. Good job by both those guys. Not to make that a little bit worse situation than it is. Let's see if this 43 can get up here.
Kevin Harvick has a fullback. The running back of Kevin Harvick says the 43 is my fullback. You make the holes, I'm going to try to go through. Unable to fill that hole, though. The 4 car is just not good enough. It's kind of as simple as that. I don't mean to make it sound easy. I think it's just not good enough for Kevin Harvick to advance.
Kevin Harvick stuck back here. And a lot of beating and banging taking place. Rear tires being cut down. And of course, that means sparks are flying, but they'll be flying a little more as we continue to get closer to the checkered flag. You can get geared during the NASCAR playoffs. Check out the greatest selection of T-shirts, die-cast, and more for all your favorite drivers. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop today. So we ride along with Ryan Preece. Looking back behind him, you get a shot of Martin Truex Jr. He is the race leader. Let's get some updates on the playoff drivers. We'll start with Kelly.
And Truex has led 305 laps so far in this race, opened up a more than 3-second lead over William Byron. Martin had never won a short track race until this year. Now he's won 2 of the last 3, trying to do it again today. And if he does, crew chief Cole Peart told me the advantage would be huge going to Miami. He said it'd be bigger perhaps than ever before because the points battle is so tight. Of course, if they can win today, their focus will immediately shift to that race at Homestead, Miami that's just a few weeks away, Marty.
Well, Joey Logano sits in 3rd right now, but he was in 2nd for much of this run, and he still counts last year's win at Martinsville in the fall among the biggest of his career. Sitting in 2nd behind Truex, you got to wonder if it's going through his mind once again. Would he make the same move? He told me in pre-race, absolutely, I would make the same move. Much of the day, he's been too loose. Right now, that car too tight. Ryan Blaney behind him, he said his entry and exit are absolutely gone on that 12 car. Complete flip of how the handling has been for much of the day. Jeremy Boland's told him, man, I made changes trying to make us better on the long run. We'll undo that on the next stop, Kelly.
Hard to find a weak link in Kyle Busch's game or this 18 team for that matter, but crew chief Adam Stevens told me if you had to look at one track in this round of 8, he would say Martinsville was potentially their weakest link. Surprising since they've had 8 straight top 5 finishes here. Kyle's been pretty happy with the car. He says just needs a little bit more forward drive, and he needs the car to handle better over the longer run, Marty.
Kelly in the round of 12 for his teammate Denny Hamlin, and a flat tire, I believe, for Austin Dillon, and a caution, Rick.
Caution has come out now for the 6th time today, and this will re-rack as Austin not able to stay down.
I was watching him down into turn 3 on the inside of the 17 car. And as 3 gets loose, Will hopping the rear tires in the braking zone into the side of the 17 car. Stenhouse cut the right front tire down on that 3 car.
Okay, Steve. Now when we look at strategy with 154 laps to go, and it doesn't normally happen, but if it would go green all the way to the end, they could probably get there on fuel.
I think they could. I'm not sure if any of the drivers want to try it, but 78 laps on this run currently. I would expect that will bring all the cars on the lead lap to pit road. Make some pit stops. It's 19 of Truex Jr. ever since he passed the 11 on pit road early in the race. He has dominated the race. But much like the 11, once he gave up the lead, his car hasn't been the same. That, I think, is the fear. If you're Cole Peart and Martin Truex Jr., that's your fear, right? You don't want to have a problem on pit road and lose positions. For everyone else, it's all about adjustments, right? The sun is starting to set. Shade in 1 and 2. The shade's getting longer in 3 and 4. This race, sunset's about 6:20 today. This race right now is going to end after 6:30, so the lights will be on. What does that mean for the track? What does that mean for your car, Kelly?
Well, for Martin Truex Jr., he said that he felt like his tires just seemed a little bit more pumped up that time around. As for balance, he said he was a little bit tight center and free getting off the turn. So the call for him, of course, will be 4 Goodyear tires with an air pressure adjustment as the Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Kelly, you can feel it getting cooler. You see Joey Logano literally pushing William Byron down pit road. William and his team have worked all day long to make the car better on the long run. He said on the radio, you hit that sweet spot. I could use a little more turn. That's why they made that ledge adjustment. For Joey Logano and his team, he said he's now tight at the 2/3 mark in the corner, and then it snaps loose off the corner for him. They went down 1 round on the track bar for Joey Logano and his race team. Martin Truex Jr. wins the race off pit road.
Rutledge.
Rick, 150 laps from now, we are going to find out who's taking this beautiful grandfather clock home with him. A tradition started in 1964. The question I have for you guys, are we going to see a repeat winner take this home, or is this the day a first-time winner takes this bad boy to the house?
That's a good question. I mean, right now, you see Byron up there, first ever career win. Could it come at the tough short track of Martinsville? Blaney, why he won at Talladega. 2 wins in the playoffs this year. And Truex, I mean, he's led 315 laps. Hard to vote against him.
We know what Logano will do if he gets to the back of the bumper of the 19. We saw it a year ago. Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney making up row 1. 148 laps to go.
Ryan Blaney on the outside. Remember, he picked up 2 spots we just talked about. Penske made that pit crew change and paid off for him that pit stop.
Here comes Byron
up the track a little bit.
Byron runs the 12 up the racetrack, and now Byron goes up to second.
Let's see what the 12 does here. He's going to use the bumper a little bit on the back of that 24. Not real happy with how he got raced in 3 and 4.
Now he's got to be careful, though. Now he needs to calm down because now they've caught him from behind. So moving the 24 may feel good, but it actually could hurt you because the guys behind you, when you're moving him, they can get into the back of you and get you in trouble.
Got to fight hard on the outside of that 18 car, Kyle Busch.
The fight for the inside. You get a little better run on corner exit. Can he get down? Clear to the bottom.
Then into the inside of the 18. Dives bombs down into turn 3.
Saw an opening.
Yeah, that was a high risk move.
Big run off on the outside, though. Corner exit for Kyle.
Oh, man, I thought the 18 was coming down for sure on the across the right front of that leather car.
Teammates once again continue to fight, and there's the bumper. He puts the bumper to the back of the 18. Up the racetrack he goes.
Interesting.
And a little contact back as they go down the front stretch.
Now he wants to get in there. He's going to get in behind this 11. Ooh, he was nice.
Get your breath, everybody. Calm down. Long way to go.
Long way to go in this race, but only 3 weeks for a championship. And I think these Gibbs guys know they're racing each other. They're trying to push and bang. You mentioned it, this big aggressive move right here. He dives on the inside and gives a little shot to the 18. Up the track he goes. Kyle Busch has got to be furious inside the race car.
And that was the second time they made contact his own. And then right here, Kyle Busch in the right rear. Family, Kelly.
Kyle Busch might be furious, but he hasn't said anything over the radio. I think he let it be known there on track, but his spotter, Tony Hirschman, said what you guys just said. Calm down there. A lot of racing left to be done, Marty.
Denny Hamlin said nothing on the radio as well, but Chris Gabehart did. He told his driver, laser focus, focus forward, move forward. Denny Hamlin's been very frustrated all day long outside of the top 5. For the first time in a long time, he's back in the top 5 now. Battle for the lead shaping up, Rick.
Definitely, with Martin Truex Jr. coming up on Austin Dillon. Now he's got the 24 of William Byron to worry about. Byron running a little bit higher line, almost what we had seen from Denny Hamlin earlier. Maybe he's taking a page from the Denny Hamlin playbook as he looks to the back bumper of the 19 of Truex Jr.
And just faster. Lap in and lap out, 1/10 of a second faster than Truex. So guys, faster is one thing.
There's contact off of turn 4. The 18 car spun around.
There's the 10 also, and there's contact with the 48, also the 47 Ryan Preece involved. The 48 of Jimmie Johnson got into the 10, who was turned around. It all started with the 18 sideways right on the front stretch. The caution once again is out.
Yeah, they come off of turn 4, and the 10 car and the 18 they got together, both spinning.
Look at the damage on the 10 car.
Let's take a look at it. Down at 3 and 4. I don't know if there's a little contact there, but they should get together. Really similar to last year's finish. And it turns the 18 back across the racetrack. The 10 spins to the inside. The 48 makes contact with the 10 here. Big contact. Wow. Doesn't look like anybody hits Kyle's car. Very lucky. I think he was extremely lucky.
Look at that. Look at Chase Elliott. Oh, gosh. I would say that Kyle Busch was very lucky, as you said.
Stay low, gas up, still outside, come back middle, still outside.
Oh, that was close.
Come up.
This is what we talked about, man. That 19 car's been dominating this race all day long, but here are these rash yellows that always come at the end of this race.
Watch it, check up.
And this is what we're going to see the rest of the night, I think.
You talked about it at the start of the race, right? Wreck happens in front of you. Look how far the wreck is. 47's 10 cars back. Gets into it. Didn't do anything wrong. It's just Martinsville.
Heavy damage on the left front of Matt DiBenedetto in the 95.
Look at that. Harvick, did he get through this okay?
That's some great camera work right there.
On a bad day, Kevin Harvick's not run well. Currently running 7th.
Now, you want to see if you're Gene Haas or Tony Stewart, 3 of your cars cross the start-finish line at Martinsville, but not in that replay.
And not one of them backwards.
No.
And still with 137 laps to go.
Yeah, you see right here, heavy damage on the 10.
We saw steam coming out from under the hood of that, too, so maybe some radiator damage there.
I think this is the theme.
I'm shattering the rears everywhere, all the way around the corner.
I think this is the theme of the race going forward.
Yes.
Is short runs. Cautions, restarts, short runs.
This is going to sound silly. The one driver that's happy to see this right here is Chase Elliott. He's been stuck in last all day, 54 laps down with 137 to go. Any of these cars that can't continue, he should be able to catch. Not a lot of points, but I think Logano proved last round. You just never know where those points are going to end up. And I agree, Dale, right? Short runs, aggressive restarts. Not that there's been a lot of give and take, but what you used to give 100 laps ago, you're definitely taking now.
There's still no cars out of this race up to this point. Chase Elliott currently scored 38, 54 laps down. Timmy Hill is 33 laps down. Aaron Smithley 11 laps down. Sorensen 8 laps down. Chastain 6. BJ McLeod 5. So quite a few at 5 laps down. And Jimmie Johnson now off the track. And I know that the 10 of Eric Almirola with pretty extensive damage. So Martin Truex Jr., after leading 329 laps of this race, is going to have to fight once again to stay up front. Now it's going to be with William Byron, who really has shown some extreme speed late in this race. Was able to get by Ryan Blaney. Wasn't afraid to put the bumper to a car either, even though he's not a playoff driver, as we're seeing a couple make their way onto pit road. Suarez and Kyle Larson are on pit road now.
Rick, you know, if Dale's prediction's right, we start to get a bunch of these yellows. It'll be which yellow you choose to pit on. What point do you want tires, Kelly?
So a couple of these playoff drivers caught up in that mess are going to have to come to pit road to look at damage, put some fresh Goodyear rubber on, and that includes Kyle Larson here in the 42. The 18 of Kyle Busch has also been called to pit road. Adam Stevens telling him, we got one shot of this. We do not want to go a lap down. And you could hear Kyle Busch just complaining about his race car. He said this thing is junk. And he was chattering through the corners. You can see the damage there to the left front of that car. But they don't want to spend a lot of time messing with this because they do not want to go a lap down.
Get ready to cut some of the left front fender off. They go to work on the 18. We'll be back for the restart here at Martinsville. 130 laps to the end of this race, and we'll see post-race coverage coming from the Mobil 1 Peacock pit box. And then victory lap, proving grounds later on NBCSN. Take a look at some replays here, guys.
Yeah, we're going to see these two cars, the 18 and the 10, involved in the last crash entering turn 3. The 10 down in the corner gets in the left rear quarter panel of Kyle's car twice. Boom, boom. Up the racetrack, Kyle goes.
They make contact again. They get kind of hung up right here. That's where all the damage came to the 10 car.
Yeah, I was wondering if they had any contact before that. It shows it. Entering turn 3, there was some contact.
That right there was, look at that. Look at Matty D. Oh, that was so fortunate for Kyle Busch.
Couldn't believe what I was seeing.
So while the cleanup continues on the front stretch, let's take a look at the Ram trucks built to serve.
Yeah, the track's going to change. We've went from the afternoon as the sun goes down behind the grandstands to late in the evening. Shade, track tent drops. Got to stay ahead of this racetrack. It's going to change a lot. Keep adjusting your car.
Yeah, and you're going to have to stay ahead on the strategy. 130 laps to go. Everybody can make it on fuel, but at what point do you need new Goodyear tires? We've already seen one yellow. I expect a rash of yellows from here.
Mark Truex Jr. has kind of driven away from the field, but lately we've seen some pressure being applied. So as he approaches lap traffic with cars behind him that can put that pressure on, he's going to have to negotiate through them really well, or they'll be used against him.
Could be interesting, the 12 and 22 lining up right next to each other. Listen to Ryan Blaney's radio.
Hopefully we can drive away here, but like if we ever find ourselves in that situation like we did earlier with the 22 behind you, we're probably better off to pull down and let him go around, and then that'll keep some guys behind him from getting beside us.
Team communications going on there. It's Martin Truex Jr., William Byron making up row 1, Blaney and Logano in row 2, Hamlin and Keselowski in row 3. Blaney able to stay right on the back bumper of the 19, fighting for second now with Byron.
Blaney drove it deep down in the corner, made it stick.
Yeah, remember these two were going at it the last restart. Roles were reversed with the 24 on the inside now. Blaney's trying to use up a little bit of racetrack to take that position back. Byron fighting hard on the outside, staying there. I'm pretty impressed with that.
I'm impressed that Blaney can outbrake him that much on the inside, get into the corner, and still stay on the curb.
Look who's entered the fray. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter today, led the first 30 laps, lost the lead on pit road. Just never seemed to recover, but here he is back racing the 24 car inside the top 5.
Oh, man, are we 3 wide? Just about. Oh, Denny up the racetrack here. Now, 22 doesn't take advantage of it.
And William Byron frustrated right now. Yeah.
Man, Denny was having a hard time, but got a lot of guys have some issue on the front straightaway. Everybody gets through okay.
Staying green. 88 at Bowman is going to come back to pit road. You see a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. 41's in the wall in 3 and 4.
Yeah, there's going to be another yellow perhaps. 41 went up, make contact with the wall. He's still rolling, slow.
The flat right front tire on that car, Daniel Suarez. The 88's on pit road with a flat as well. Yeah, a lot of these guys had some issues on the front straightaway. I caught the back tail end of it.
It's too bad for Bowman. He had recovered from an earlier loose wheel to get back on the lead lap. Let's take a look at this.
So the 88 on the inside of 43. Loose off the corner. A lot of contact.
Actually climbed the left rear tire.
Oh, man, look at that. Big contact right there. Man, that was bad.
Yeah, that was the first wreck that didn't really create the yellow. Everybody kind of kept moving. And then the 41 went down and hit the wall again. Look at this. Got like an open wheel car. That right front climbed the left rear of the 43.
Kyle Busch back there saying, guys, please don't make my day worse.
Kyle Larson, he's just trying to survive the day. Happened right. This is on board with Kyle Larson right here.
Inside. Watch him. Inside barely. Inside barely inside.
They go to work on Daniel Suarez's car.
Well, you guys talked about it. One caution creates another one. Now we're starting to get a rash of short runs.
And how about the intensity? You were just mentioning it, Rick. The 11 of Denny Hamlin. You know, 150 laps ago, I really believe when he got inside the 24, he'd have rolled the curb, given it 4 or 5 sets of corners to try to work around it. I'm not saying he went in there and straightened the wheel, but he drove in there deep enough knowing he may lose a little bit control of this car and seemed to be okay running the 24 up the racetrack, right? When you get in the last 150 laps of this race, you don't know the next restart you're going to get and the next time you're going to get that position. Kelly.
All right, so we see a lot of the leaders staying out. Kyle Busch, though, coming back to pit road so the team can continue to work on the damage he sustained in the wreck. They said the hood is fluttering a bit, but they think that fender is okay. But they're going to take some more time to look at the left front there of Kyle Busch's car.
So they'll go to work on the 18 once again. Kyle Busch still fighting to stay up front. What a beautiful venue. Our aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Coming up on 119 laps to go. NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville. It's telecast presented by Coca-Cola. Lights are off on the pace car, meaning next time by they will get the green flag for the restart. Already 8 cautions. Only 3 drivers have been up front. It's been Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson who have led laps today.
Taking a mental image of all these cars near the front in their somewhat pristine condition, because trying to remember it. I'm not sure.
To change?
Yeah, maybe not at this restart, but with 119 laps to go, they know, you know, you have to go. You have to take the positions when they're available.
Martin Truex Jr. on the inside, Ryan Blaney on the outside. Let's see what Denny Hamlin does now with that inside position.
So impressed how far in the corner Blaney can drive his car, whether it's on the inside or the outside. Watch this. Look at that. It stays in the lane.
Wow, he's going to beat that Lennon car. Hamlin off the turn forward, take that second spot from the outside.
Just drives in the corner so deeply and then gains an advantage by doing it.
Let's see if he can run down Truex. Nobody's been able to get to the back of the 19 car all day long, but conditions are quite different now. Somebody may be getting better as this track is changing.
Got a glimpse of the back of this battle. 42 car, Kyle Larson in 10th place.
Look at the move by Keselowski, trying to go by his teammate Joey Logano. It has to be frustrating for Brad Keselowski. He led 446 of the 500 laps here earlier this year, and he has battled all race long just to stay in the top 10.
Yeah, the same sort of battle we've seen before of Kevin Harvick. This Ford car has not been good most of the afternoon, but continued to adjust on it up to the 7th position. Sometimes when you have a championship season, or at least a shot at a championship in Miami, you look back at races that people don't remember, but you do as a crew chief or a driver. It's not the ones you won. Sometimes it's the ones that you salvaged. If the Ford car can get up there and finish somewhere inside the top 5 or 10, that might be considered salvaging a day.
Coca-Cola Cam on the roof of that 22 car Logano, easing into the corner. That 24 getting off the bottom there a little better. Trying to keep the pressure on Denny Hamlin in front of him.
So Hamlin just in front of William Byron. Blaney about a car length and a half in front of Hamlin, and then it's 2 car lengths all the way up to Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, Denny's car just does not look like it gets around the corner like he wants it to. It's having a hard time trying to figure out how to create speed. And that's kept his 24 car right on his bumper.
Well, we already know, we've seen it before, that Denny Hamlin, he's racing for a championship. He is going to ask, just in how he drives his car, for William Byron to cut him some slack. William Byron will have a decision he has to make in a short period of time, I think, how aggressive he wants to get.
Jimmy Johnson and Eric Almirola were taken to the infield care center, treated and released. Kelly caught up with Eric.
Unfortunately for Eric Almirola, a really good top 5 run went awry there. We saw some contact between you and the 18 going into the corner. Then what happened?
We got together. He chopped me getting down into 3. I tried to squeeze in front of him in the spring on one of the restarts, and he about wrecked me in turn 3. And it was returned to him, and he didn't like it. And he run me up over the curb, and we got hooked together and ruined our day. So Smithfield Ford Mustang was really good. Really proud of my guys. We brought a really fast race car and ran up front all day, and I felt like we were maybe one adjustment away from being able to run maybe 2nd or 3rd. The 19's really good, but I feel like we were really close. So frustrated. We got 3 more weeks, and I'm gonna make it hell for him.
3 more weeks. You heard it.
So that's so Eric Almirola remembering something from the spring that he was upset about.
Yeah, race car drivers don't forget. Well, we've talked about playoff and non-playoff guys and who has more to lose. It's very clear that Kyle Busch has more to lose. This accident today has hurt his point situation, and now he has an enemy clearly with Eric Almirola.
And remember, you win here, you advance to the championship 4. It's an automatic ticket. 2 weeks to prepare then after that. So right now, Martin Truex Jr., after winning stage 1 and stage 2, has about a 1.5 second lead over Ryan Blaney. But we've seen William Byron coming to life in that 24.
Yeah, Williams drove up there and caught the 12 car, and Denny Hamlin now trying to hold off the 22. 2 great battles on the racetrack. 24 moving high into the corner. Denny trying that same line to be defensive, just trying to create speed for himself, because if he runs low entering, his car is so slow in the center because it will not turn.
Steve, you hit on it. I think Chad Knaus, with 9 wins at this racetrack, has really passed on a lot of knowledge to the 21-year-old William Byron. He looks great.
Well, you can talk a lot about rules, but one thing that hasn't changed is the racetrack and how the track changes as the tires put down rubber. Marty.
And don't count them out for the win yet. I know Truex is leading all these laps, but they seem to be making the 24 better all afternoon long. William Byron has asked Chad Knaus to make it better on the long runs. And in fact, before he came down pit road the last time, he said, you hit the sweet spot. I needed a little more turn. That's what we got. So William Byron, very good on the long runs and trying to track down Ryan Blaney here for second.
And it seems like he's showing patience. That's the other thing that's impressive out of William Byron. At 21 years old, not very many starts at this racetrack. He looks like a veteran as he's racing the veterans on the racetrack. Truex Jr. still up front. Blaney, Byron in the top 3. Great battles continuing for second and for fourth. Blaney holding off William Byron. Hamlin holding up Joey Logano. We'll see what happens in both of these instances.
Guys, you guys were talking about how the 24 at some point might have to try to use a little bit of a bumper on the 12, but he had to be closer. That last lap, he got right to the bumper of the 12 on corner entry, didn't do anything about it. Now he's lost another half a car length.
The thing about the 12, though, is he enters low, pretty straight into the corner, to the curb, rolls the curb, stays on the curb all the way through. There's no way around him. There's no weakness.
And the report from Marty is that he's tight, right? So that means the back of the car is really secure. So even when you go and lay the bumper to him, unless you do it on corner entry, he's not going anywhere because the car's already in the racetrack.
And he's not really holding up that 24 too much. Not that much slower than Byron. So Byron can't get too aggressive with him.
Well, let's see what William has to say about this.
So good, man. Keep it up. Strike while the iron's hot. Is he old enough to know what that means?
Hey, so, guys, I had a conversation with Chad Knaus a few weeks back about William Byron, and in the conversation I said, you know, what's it feel like as a veteran crew chief to be crew chief and a kid? And he interrupted me. And he said he's not a kid. He's a 21-year-old young man. I don't like when people refer to him as a kid because he's not a kid. I don't want him to be raced as a kid. I don't want him to drive like a kid. I want him to drive like a professional race car driver. He said that he had a conversation with the team, with the owner, with the sponsors to not refer to William Byron as a kid. And obviously that mentoring of Chad Knaus is paying off as the 24 runs third. Marty.
Steve, I had that same conversation with Chad Knaus, and you're right. He doesn't like it when you say kid. He said, stop. He's a man, and he's become a man. And that's what he told me he's most proud of William Byron this year. The man and the racer and the leader that he's become on the 24 team. You think of such a young guy, he wouldn't be a leader, but Chad Canal said, yes, he is. He certainly leads us in many ways. Of course, Chad leading the team as well. In front of him, Ryan Blaney. It is amazing how consistent Blaney is. And Jeff, yes, you're right. Car extremely tight for Blaney. Here he is turning top 5 lap times, running in second, saying the car is plowing and not any better than it was when he was complaining a little while ago, but clearly hard to pass him right now.
Yeah, this will be a tough pass for sure. One of the things that has happened here is the lights have turned on and the sun's gone down. Check this out. We can now see the rotors glowing on the front of these cars. Just tons of brake heat. That's not a problem. You know, there was a time in this sport where rotors glowing like that would be a concern, too much brake heat, but with today's technology and parts and pieces, it just doesn't cause a brake problem. Now, it could cause a right front tire problem and melt a bead, but typically you don't see brake problems here anymore.
Steve, what temperatures are we talking about when we see these rotors glowing red like that?
Well, they're 12 or 14
laps here. Get those tires back underneath as the brakes cool off.
So there's a coaching by Jack Canals. He sees the same thing we're showing. You're talking 12 to 1,400 degrees once they come in the garage and they're checked. So they're well over 16 to 1,800 degrees on the racetrack. But almost designed that way. The brake pads work at that temperature. You just need to take care of your stuff. How about, we'll take a moment. First of all, thank Corey LaJoie and Corvette Parts for this awesome Mystery Machine paint scheme. But then what a job by Corey LaJoie running on the lead lap in 17th. You think of all the mayhem today, you look at that car, reasonably clean. I mean, that's barely a scratch for Martinsville. A little bit of front bumper work. Both doors look pretty good. Great looking paint scheme and a great run for LaJoie, guys.
Yeah, it's not just because other people have wrecked. We've been watching him over here. He's been in the lead lap in this race a tremendous amount. Good call out, Steve. Team's doing a really good job. Corey LaJoie is doing a really good job.
I mean, look behind him. You have Hembrich from RCR, right? You have Austin Dillon from RCR. He's outrunning both RCR cars. Boyer obviously had that flat tire outrunning him. Bernard, Jones, some well-funded big teams back there. Little inch in the could here, the 32. Corey LaJoie driving a smart, clean race.
Yeah, right behind him is the 36, normally driven by Matt Tifft. But today it is Matt Crafton that's behind the wheel. Matt Tifft yesterday had an issue here at the track, went to the infield care center, then was transported to the hospital, and then he was released and went home. And so he is not behind the wheel of the 36 today, but obviously we all hope that he gets back behind the wheel very soon.
So Kyle Busch had that wreck a little bit ago, and he's driven the car back up to 11th place. See Kyle Larson behind him. Kyle Larson running in 12th. So this day is not over for Kyle Busch. He sat in the middle of the front straightaway. The car is flying by him. Nobody made huge contact. Still has a lot of positions to go gain right here.
Yeah, when that left front fender got torn off, I actually thought, man, that's actually not a bad thing. Typically, it keeps the tip out of those front tires or out of that particular tire on the front of the car and helps the car rotate and turn on the long run. Now, it's so late in the race that probably won't pay off for him as he gets passed by the 9 car, Chase Elliott. But that is not hurting that car as far as aerodynamics are concerned.
Martin Truex Jr. 3.7 second lead over Ryan Blaney, running in second as we go NASCAR nonstop. Now under 70 laps to go. The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs is telecast presented by Coca-Cola. Now next Sunday, NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs continue from Texas Motor Speedway. It's another chance to secure a spot in the championship and maybe a must-win situation for drivers like Chase Elliott, who's having struggles now. And again, the Xfinity Series will be back next week and then all the way through the championship playoffs in Miami.
I love that finish, right? Xfinity and Cup together, Texas, Phoenix, and Miami. Gives the fans that want to come out to the track a great chance to see a whole bunch of racing.
A lot of anxieties after Kansas Xfinity race. A lot of drivers pointing fingers at each other, not happy. See if they calm down for Texas.
A couple of them rolling around on the ground on pit road.
So let's get a few updates from pit road, and we'll start with Kelly on Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, who continues to work his way through traffic. Coming into this race, Rick, the most laps Martin Truex Jr. had ever led in a race, 392. That was at the Coke 600 back in 2016. He has surpassed that mark today. 397 laps led already today. When I asked his crew chief, Cole Pern, what the key would be for today's race, he gave me 2 words: track position. And he's had the best track position most of this day, Marty.
Kelly, you can feel it getting cooler here in Martinsville, and Ryan Blaney now getting happy with his race car. Said the entry is better. I do feel much better about this run. Still a little bit tight. You know, he said, I don't want to be a guy who wins just one race a year. I want to be a part of the conversation every week. Tell you what, in the playoffs, Ryan Blaney and the 12 team have certainly been part of the conversation. William Byron back in third. He said that the car was a little bit free, but was coming to him the longer they ran, and it's showing, and he's getting up there where he can track down Ryan Blaney. Going to be interesting to see if he can get him. Denny Hamlin all day long has been saying this race is all about track position. Finally, he has a little bit in the top 5. We'll see if he can hang on to it. Hasn't really said much about the handling of the race car. Meanwhile, Joey Logano said the rear grip in the 22 car is starting to go away, and he admits, I think we'll be good at Texas next week, but tonight, here at Martinsville, that's our best shot to advance to Miami with a win, Parker.
And Marty behind him, his teammate Brad Keselowski, who's knocked out of the playoffs in Kansas last week. I asked his crew chief, Paul Wolf, what happened, and they still weren't sure. They just could not nail the balance on that 2 car this week, but he did admit it has taken the wind out of the sails of that race team. A solid run here today could go a long way in putting some confidence back in that race team. Behind him, Kevin Harvick, who spent most of the day outside the top 10, really struggled with that car, but it seems like as we've gotten to nighttime, it's starting to come to them a little bit. I've kept my eye on the points, and that Kyle Busch wreck was about a 10-point swing for Kevin Harvick, who finds himself as they run 17 points below the cut line. Behind him is Ryan Newman in that 6 car, having a great run in the top 10. Speaking to his crew chief, Scott Graves, I asked him, you know, short track's been good to you. What do you feel is on offer today? They weren't that confident, but they said in the spring race here, they had a great car in practice. They had a terrible race. They had a terrible practice. They look to be having a great race. Maybe it's the inverse for them, Marty.
How about this run for Bubba Wallace back in the top 10? Yes, they had some contact on pit road. Yes, they were part of one caution, but all day long, they have been terrific on longer runs, and he has worked his way back up through the field in a hometown race for Richard Petty Motorsports. Bubba Wallace running in the top 10 right now, Kelly.
And now Kyle Busch has cracked back into the top 10. He's trying to salvage his day after damage sustained in that wreck with the 10 of Eric Almirola. His race car's just been sort of okay through most of the day, although at the time of that wreck, he said then it was turning like junk tires, chattering. His crew chief Adam Stevens told me their goal today just to collect as many points as they could. Well, they got 6 stage points, and now looking to score some more solid points here if he can finish inside the top 10.
And Kyle Busch is going to be a part of Motor Mouth on Wednesday, and he is going to have a lot to talk about. Eric Almirola, you know, Todd Gilliland won the truck race yesterday. Kyle Busch has been in the news a lot here recently, so he'll have a lot to talk about on Motor Mouth. That's on Wednesday. NASCAR America.
In the news, not like you would like.
Yeah.
You'd like to be talking about winning at Martinsville, but even with this damage in the left front fender missing, you just heard that update from Kelly. You know, running 10th, running good lap times, has fresh tires or fresher tires than the leaders. I'm not ruling them out. 57 laps to go. I haven't seen everything happen in the last 20 laps here, so I'm not going to rule out the 10th place car.
Martin Truex Jr. has been extremely strong, as we heard from Kelly. Most laps he's ever led in a race. 408 now and counting for Martin Truex Jr. Remember, in the race earlier here at Martinsville, it was Brad Keselowski who led 446 laps. If Martin Truex Jr. continues on this pace, he could lead over 460 laps at this racetrack. Kevin Harvick currently running in the 7th spot, trying to chase down Brad Keselowski just in front of him for position.
Currently a 64-lap run, the longest of the day, 97 laps. I bring that up because that's 33 laps from where we are currently. Well, there's 54 laps to go. So for this race to go green to the finish, it would take the longest green flag run of the day.
A lot of smoke coming out of the left rear of Clint Bowyer. Big tire rub there.
I don't know if he had contact with another car or not. Notice that smoke Down the front straightaway the last lap, getting worse and worse. Looks like suspension's broke or something, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be obvious to me. It looks to me like the whole entire rear housing is kind of shifting to the left.
Left rear's down.
Yeah, rear end's breaking, guys, is what he said. And there's a left rear going, Rick.
And can he keep it off the wall? He's going to spin. No, is he going to keep it straight? The caution does come out.
Ooh, man. Oh, boy.
And another restart.
50 laps to go.
And some pit stops.
And pit stops. So,
I mean, you just heard.
Very important.
What did Kelly say? Cole Pern said the trick today, the key today was going to be track position. He got it on pit road. He has kept it all day long. We'll see. His team's been great, guys, right? But, I mean, anything can happen on pit road.
Labor's going to come there right away as that left rear tire down. So with right now it's 51 laps. They haven't opened pit road yet. Now 50 laps to go. Steve, what about a 2-tire stop for that track position? Would anybody gamble on that? Maybe a Kyle Larson or a Kyle Busch?
Well, they did pit later than the leaders on some of these yellows that we have seen. It would be a gamble. I think for Kyle Larson, you look at 15 cars in the lead lap. He's running 13th. Can he really go anywhere, right? Can he drive up from 13th? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Or do you say we've had a good day, let's not gamble and get run over, but 50 to go, Jeff.
Yeah, just such a big advantage. You saw it earlier. You see Blaney pulling up, passing all those lap cars, getting to the rear bumper of the 19 of Truex, but still a 2-car advantage getting on pit road, Kelly.
You can see Martin Truex Jr. in that number 19 car will lead some of the fields down pit road. They did not want to see that caution come out. Martin Truex had opened up a sizable lead ahead of Ryan Blaney behind him, but nonetheless they call him in, and it's going to be a 4 Goodyear tire stop for Truex. Marty?
Ryan Blaney told Jeremy Bullins the car clearly got better the longer we ran. I was building loose. Just keep that in mind. He said, remember that air pressure adjustment we talked about at the shop earlier this week? We're going to do that here for a short run, also around the wedge. Denny Hamlin said, I just don't have nearly the grip that I thought I would. 4 tires going on for all of these guys, and Martin Truex Jr. holds serve here on pit road, Rick.
That crew has been amazing. The top 3 hold their position. Blaney, Byron still the top 3. Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from Martinsville Speedway, and now the intensity is ramping up. Closing in on 45 laps of racing. When we go back to green, and who will move someone out of the way for a spot in the championship 4? Can Martin Truex Jr. stay up front?
Well, it seems like after a few laps, the 19 car has been the class of the field, but on these restarts, guys have been able to stay close to his bumper.
We'll see what Blaney does. He's on the outside, currently second. William Byron down on the inside in third. Joey Logano on the outside of lane 2. Great restart for Martin Truex Jr.
Blaney spun his tires a little bit.
Fight for second is on now.
Look at Blaney sail that thing in the corner.
Oh, and he goes up the racetrack. William Byron got into the left rear quarter panel.
Watch 12. Watch him outbrake William. Look at that. It's half a car length in the corner on the outside. So impressive.
And now the race off. The 24's got him. Here comes the 12. A little deeper into the turn.
That was an impressive move right there. Got a huge launch on the corner. Exit of the corner.
Into the walls. The 22 of Logano. The 11 put the 22 of Logano into the wall as they came off of 4.
And there's some heavy smoke out of the 22. Left rear tire run. Oh, the left rear looks like it's going flat quickly.
A lot of damage to Joey Logano. He's going to go up into the wall.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. Keep coming there. Hold the brake up there. Keep coming there.
Still no caution. And he was able to stay off the wall, but Willie now in turn 1 and 2, he goes around.
Hold the brake.
Caution will come out.
Get fired up and get ready to roll here. One more, go, 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 go.
You're
Here we are on top of the roof of the 22 car off turn 4.
Rolling inside the 11. Keep coming up the 11.
Contact between the 2 cars.
See right here, the 11 way up the racetrack.
Yes.
Wow, climbed the wall.
It didn't leave the 22 enough room out there.
That could be some damage there, Steve, don't you think?
Yes, that is heavy, heavy contact. You see the left rear going flat was the issue that caused the 22 to lose control, but you have to ask yourself how much damage that did to the suspension on the 22. He'll come to the service of his crew.
What about the damage to the 11?
Yeah,
the right side.
Yeah, the right side definitely took quite a bit of damage. The right rear tire has most of the Goodyear missing.
Marty told us only one set of tires for most of these teams on pit road.
So I don't think the tires they have on will be good to finish, assuming they hold air all the way to the finish, and that will be the issue, right? Tire count has been continued to decrease on the Cup side. It changes the strategy around a little bit, but you also have to start thinking about if you have a couple flats and burned tires, some of the tires you ran earlier in the race for a short amount of time, you actually glue lug nuts back on, consider putting them back on the car. Another situation is we had a handful of wave rounds, so there's more cars in the lead lap than they've been in quite a while, currently 18. That makes this issue on 22, sorry Rick, even a bigger penalty right now, because if you, last car in the lead lap is 18th.
Yeah, this changes things a little bit for some of the drivers in the point system. With the 22 having all these issues, puts him a lot closer to the cut line, and it brings the 12 and the 4 into a better position. You see right there, in a much better position going forward, Marty.
And to that point, Junior, you can see it on the left-hand side of your screen. Joey Logano goes all the way down to the cut line and +6. Actually, Todd Gordon thought all the tires were up. Joey Logano said, no, I'm pretty sure one is flat because I had to spin out there. So Joey Logano with 4 tires here trying to get this flat fixed. And for the 3rd week in a row, they go into repair mode here on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. is leading, 39 to go.
.37 to go at Martinsville. Martin Truex Jr. continues to lead. I sat down with Truex back in the summer on a podcast and asked Truex, is there ever a race that he wishes he could redo? This was his response. What's the one that got away, the one you would do over again if you could?
I would say Martinsville last year. You know, and that was on me.
Yep.
You know, I should have just knocked the 22 out of the way with 5 to go and drove away. I mean, I was so much faster than him at that point.
Yep.
I gave him, I left the window open of opportunity for him on that last corner because I wasn't far enough ahead of him. You know, with 3-4 to go, I should have just gave him a little nudge.
Yep.
Drove on. That would, well, we would have won the championship.
Yep.
You know, that would have been 2 in a row.
Yep.
That was the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Rick, it was a casual conversation. When he answered that, it was right away, and he was staring right at me. That one has been in his memory banks. He's dominated today. Can he close it out with 36 to go?
He always learned from past experiences. We'll see what he has learned. Coming up on 35 laps to go, a dominant 19 of Martin Truex Jr. on the inside. William Byron on the outside. Great restart for all up front.
Kyle Larson with a bunch of smoke out of the right front.
Look at William Byron on the outside.
Yeah,
going
Truex
into 3.
clearing.
Byron holds on to 2nd. Ryan Blaney up to 3rd. And now a fight for 4th. Here comes Keselowski to the inside of the 11.
Byron, man, is right on this 19 car down the back straightaway.
How hungry is the 21-year-old to get his first win? Will he move a playoff driver out of the way for it?
Yeah, Truex just so much better through that corner. Now he's behind all the 12.
Oh, Blaney trying to block the 2. The 2 didn't give it to him.
Unreal, the 2 into the back of the 12.
Keselowski, his teammate.
And Blaney's still in the playoffs. Keselowski is not. But that doesn't mean Keselowski won't move him out of the way.
Keselowski's going to get out of his way. So Keselowski got into the side of him, moved him out of the way, and then moved over to get him the spot back.
How do you guys feel about that?
Well, that tells me Keselowski didn't 100% need for this to happen. He didn't get it. He got in there deeper than he thought he was going to. Didn't expect the 12 to come down. One of those two things, because the very next straightaway, he gave him that spot back. I've done that to a competitor before, where I got it to him, didn't mean to. It felt like if I didn't give it back to him, I might be pointed backwards in the next corner.
Yeah. How about the race for the lead? It continues to heat up. William Byron has not been able to close the gap within a car length, but he's been right there with Martin Truex Jr.
Martin Truex Jr., this is pressure time, right? And now he's got somebody on his rear bumper. Really hadn't been in this position all day.
Oh, that 24 is good on corner entry, which if you're Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 makes it harder to defend. That would be the area where the 24 would have to look inside.
Oh, there's issues in turn 4. Caution's out.
Turn 4 problem, and the caution comes out. 11 cautions today. That was the 34, Michael McDowell.
It's right on average, Rick. Right on 11.
And look at all the damage to the right side of that car.
Saw a little glimpse of Joey Logano and all that. He's worked himself up to 18th. Go Daniel Hemrick around. How many cars, Martin? With some body damage, some kind of damage? Not many of them. Yeah, contact.
Keep digging here.
This was just a little bit earlier. Larson and Stenhouse, we saw that right in front smoke coming from Larson's tire. That must have been what it was from. Larson's running at 14th.
Coming up on 27 laps to go, and looks like Bubba Wallace is coming to pit road, so will Kyle Larson.
Bubba's giving up a top 10 position.
Get fresh tires. Can that help him with what will be 27 laps to go? Kelly.
Well, for Kyle Larson and that 42 team, they saw some smoke coming out of the right front. They weren't sure how it got there, but they called him to pit road because they wanted to fix that right front fender. You can see a little bit of damage there on the right front. Kyle saying, whenever I touch the gas off turn 4, I spin the tires as well, Marty.
Bubba Wallace coming down pit road for fresh Goodyear tires here, Steve. 27 laps to go, and there's currently 19 cars on the lead lap. Fresh rubber. What do you think about fresh Goodyear tires getting up through the field?
I'm not sure. They only had maybe in the teens on them, but you know, starting mid-pack, you're expecting a bunch of chaos. It's going to have to get fortunate on a few restarts. I'm not saying it won't work, but it's going to be much tougher.
Are you saying there's going to be more than one restart to finish this race?
Yes. Well, there could be.
Confidently.
I tell you, when we look at the front of the field, William Byron got one of the best restarts we have seen. That's the first time I've seen anyone be able to stay to the outside of the 19. But the guy in third is the one I'm really looking at. Ryan Blaney's corner entry has been breathtaking. He can get that. Bert, you've said it every lap, right? He drives so far into the corner. You can't make a pass into the corner, but you can start a pass into the corner. If you can get position, it might work out.
Yeah, and think about this, Steve. Even though Ryan's had a really good race here at Martinsville, he's still below the cut line. So he had a lot of points to make up. So right in front of him is a ticket to go to Miami with a shot to win a championship. That has put drivers in a situation where they do things they would not normally do.
Denny Hamlin currently running 5th. Right in front of him, Brad Keselowski. Here was the radio communication just moments ago, not happy about the two.
I think I'm decent. I'm just confused. You're playing games. He thinks I'm playing games. He must not know me.
Oh boy, must not know me.
Well, they're lined up 2 by 2 again. Marty.
You guys mentioned William Byron on that last restart. Chad Knaus congratulated him, said you managed it so well. Now go do it again.
Psychologist, right? Isn't that what I said a crew chief has to be today?
Hey, listen, he can make adjustments to the car, and all I can do right now is help the confidence of the driver.
Truex Jr. on the inside, Byron on the outside. Blaney and Keselowski, two Penske drivers, running in that second row. Coming up on 24 laps to go. Green flag back in the air.
William Byron at 24, that's what he wanted right there. That's a successful restart from the outside. Obviously, you want to take the lead, but it's a little unrealistic to think you can do it. Hold in second behind him, that's good.
For fourth, more contact. Denny Hamlin got into the side of the 2 of Keselowski. This isn't over.
Yeah, Denny, I think Denny's had enough.
Got into the back bumper. Shoves the 2 up the racetrack.
Denny's racing for points. Keselowski's no longer in the playoffs. Denny's going to have much less patience. But
up the racetrack he goes. Here comes Kurt Busch. He moves to the inside of Hamlin.
Cannot let his emotions get ahead of him right here, right, guys? You got to understand. Remember what you're here to do. I know you want to win. You had to have a winning car all day.
Contact back here between Kyle Busch and Newman. Newman got a lot of lift rear quarter panel damage from that contact. The 18 doesn't have a fender on either side. You're right there at the top of your screen. Yeah, the 18 with heavy contact into the left rear quarter panel.
They got the tire rub on that 6 car now. A little bit of contact with the wall, the 18 car on the corner exit.
Back up front, William Byron is not letting the 19 go, only a car length out. Here comes Keselowski, this time clean inside the 12 of Blaney.
Blaney has to let it go. The fact that Brad has that opening behind him, Blaney has to get back there and take it. Can't afford to race side by side and allow the 11 car to get in there and take that position. And Blaney's going to get a little bit of pressure from some people at Penske for racing his teammate, but look how much faster he is. I mean, he's going to drive away right now from Blaney.
And we'll see if Keselowski can catch up to William Byron. Again, now just 19 laps to go.
19 laps for a seat at the table in Miami to try to win a championship for Martin Truex Jr. 19 laps for William Byron, the 21-year-old, to try to capture his first ever Cup win.
It is amazing, Junior, what it feels like to win your first Cup race. It's right there in front of William Byron. This is a huge day, potentially a huge day for William Byron. He's got a shot at it.
Marty.
Rick, there are 2 non-playoff drivers behind Martin Truex Jr. So, Jeff, the question is, if you're William Byron, what are you willing to do for that first ever win? Do you move the 19, a playoff driver? It might be an unpopular move, but that would be your first career win. Is it worth it?
Yes. Listen, I wouldn't wreck him, but listen, you can move the 19 if you can get to him, right? He's not to him, but you can move him, and Martin still finished second.
Yeah.
There's a big gap between them. That gives William Byron permission in my eyes. Listen, I don't ever really want to move somebody for a win, but the rules have changed. It's a different kind of racing right now. We're starting to see more people move, guys. And
Plus, this is a win. It's a short track. Man, bumper, use the bumper. Road's racing here.
Back-to-back dominant performances at Martinsville. It was Keselowski earlier. Now Martin Truex Jr. 449 and counting for Martin Truex Jr. The most laps led in a race since 1992 when Kyle Petty put up 484 laps at Rockingham.
When I watch this battle, the 24 doesn't seem to be as good as the 19 in 1 and 2, maybe better in 3 and 4. I think the key to William Byron is stay close enough at this end of the racetrack where he can try to make a pass at this end of the racetrack in 3 and 4. Something about his car works better here.
Last couple of laps, Truex been able to
take advantage of this as quickly as possible.
The last couple laps, Truex been able to lengthen that lead just a little bit.
Here's Chad Knaus giving him some more advice. There's Logano trying to get by the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Joey's came right through the field here, up in the 10th place, battling for 9th.
Coming back, and he'll take that spot. It's still a car length and a half. William Byron chasing after Martin Truex Jr.
Martin Truex Jr., when he gets in one of these races where he just dominates, he is so fast. Kind of Jimmy Johnson-like, right? Just doesn't have to do anything, you know, rough people up, move people, just drive away from them. So William Byron doing it all he can, but
I don't know. I remember some battles, and I think Steve remembers some battles where they did get a little rough. Yeah. 24 and the 48. Yeah, the 24 and the 48 traded bumpers around here for about 40 laps. 24 in the short end that day. On the right side of your screen, this battle for third, Denny Hamlin. I think he has some frustration for Brad Keselowski. We'll see how patient he is to try to pass him, or if he feels he's just going to move him out of the way.
Martin Truex Jr. on the left side of your screen. Now under 10 laps to go for another short track win. Right behind him, though, William Byron, Marty.
And, Rick, you got to love the way Chad Knaus, the veteran, is managing his young driver. He said, I want you to cool your stuff down. I want you to think about how your race car is. You have a limited time to get this done. Think about how you can get that pass done. Steve, you know, as a driver, as crew chief, Part of your job is making sure that driver's in the right frame of mind to get it done.
Yeah, he worked with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canal so successful everywhere, but especially here at Martinsville. Taking what he learned from Jimmy Johnson and working with Jimmy, try to apply it to William Byron the best you can, but in the end, it's the driver. William Byron has to go out there and find some speed, find a couple good corners. It'll be interesting, though, with 8 to go, a couple slow cars, the 19 might catch traffic.
I see William Byron looking around, trying different things. He started entering, using that high entry, and that wasn't working. The 19 started getting away from him. Now William Byron has closed that entry up a little bit. He's looking for something, just trying to find a little bit of speed. He knows that 19's better. Got to find something that's going to make his car a little better.
Garrett Smithley pulled over in the 52 to let these two by and let them decide it for this race win. Under 6 laps to go. 25 wins for Martin Truex Jr. But until this year, he had never won on a short track. He swept Richmond, won both of those races. So he has now won on a short track. And after finishing second at this racetrack before and showing that he could win on a short track, but never getting it done, he has put on one of the most dominant performances ever at Martinsville. 459 laps and counting as far as laps led, coming up on 4 laps to go, and about a 3-car length lead now over William Byron.
Remember this about Martin Truex Jr. Since the start of 2017, Kyle Busch 17 wins, Martin Truex Jr. 18. Martin Truex Jr. has been the guy for the last 3 years.
Has a championship and looking for another. A win here puts him into the championship for another fight. 3 laps to go. Now coming up on the 41 of Daniel Suarez. Will these guys play nice and get out of the way? Or will it allow the 24 of Byron to close the gap?
Suarez doing a smart thing, getting out of the way.
2 to go. Here comes Byron. Moving up the racetrack, trying to allow these two to fight it out. Coming up on the final lap. One more time around. The gap down to a car length. William Byron, does he have anything? Down the backstretch for the final time. Martin Truex Jr. has dominated at Martinsville. He will have a championship 4 spot.
Over there, MTJ. Hell yeah, boys. Get Martinsville. Yeah. Unreal job.
Martin Truex Jr. advances to the Monster Energy Cup Series Championship 4 in Miami. What looked like a huge hill to climb to beat Denny Hamlin today in Martinsville, it ended up being Martin Truex Jr. who was the dominant one. This victory fueled by Sunoco. Fuel your best. Seven wins in 2019. And 3 of those have come at short tracks. And out of the smoke emerges a championship favorite.
A year ago, he left here frustrated, disappointed after being moved by Joey Logano in the closing laps, the closing corner. He comes back a year later, leads 464 laps.
And he's climbing out of the car right in the middle of turn 3 and 4. He'll salute the crowd. lights on here at the Paperclip. And the crowd here got to see a dominating performance. And typical Martinsville racing. Quite a few cars that don't have sheet metal on them anymore. And a big smile on the face of Martin Truex Jr., Marty.
What a performance from Martin Truex Jr. The fans literally 15 feet away. Welcome to Miami.
I can't believe we just won Martinsville, man. I mean, Miami's awesome, but we've wanted to win here for a long time, and the guys have worked so hard. I've worked so hard. I used to just be terrible here, and it's just an awesome bunch of guys. What can I say? Auto Owners, Bass Pro, Toyota, TRD, everybody back at the shop, brand new race car again, and it still wants to keep going, but...
yeah, we're slowly losing your race car.
It'll be all right. It wants to just keep going, but I can't say enough about all these, everybody on our team and all these fans out here. Man, this is awesome, and to win here, to get a grandfather clock's pretty special.
When I talked to you this afternoon, honestly, you didn't seem that confident. Did you expect a performance like that, leading 464 laps?
I don't think anyone expected that. This racetrack in general, you don't see that. So hats off to my guys. The pit crew was stellar today, and you know, we didn't make many adjustments. We adjusted on early, and it came to life, and that was a lot of fun. So I don't know, maybe now I got this place figured out. Who knows? But I'm just really proud of everybody, and you know, after last year, and you know, we talked earlier. Everybody wants to keep talking about last year, and I'm like, we got work to do. So I'm just proud of everybody for you know, for giving me a race car like that and being able to put it all together today when it counted.
You mentioned the disappointment of last year. Does this make up for that?
I'll let you know in a few weeks. I mean, the cool part is we're going to Homestead again, so that was what we tried to accomplish this you know, this weekend. We don't have to worry about points anymore. We can just get to work on a Homestead car, and looks like they're fighting again. But I'm just honestly, I'm so excited and proud to drive this thing, and our team's unbelievable.
So Denny Hamlin, he was on the ground. Someone has come over there, and you see crew members now starting to get back up. But Hamlin visibly upset.
Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, trying to get Hamlin's attention. Get it out of that. He enjoyed Logano, obviously.
Logano being pushed out of the way. Denny Hamlin has people holding him back. Let's look back on what happened on pit road. These two just discussing it, it looks like. And then it escalated.
Hey, stop.
A little bit of an extra shove there by Logano as he walked away, and Hamlin wasn't going to have it.
All this from this on-track action we saw earlier. Off of turn 4, Denny and the 22 getting together. Denny squeezing that 22 into the fence. Logano came back and finished 8th. Felt like he needed to talk to Denny about that after Parker.
Hey guys, I just catching up here. Denny Hamlin, what happened there between you and Joey Logano?
Well, we were having a discussion. Everything was civil. And then like Joey does, he does a little, you know, push and then runs away. So that's Joey. It's scared. He said, do you want to go? I said, yes, I'm here. But then he runs away, so.
What was the altercation on track that led to it?
I got close off of turn 4. It looks like we got together, and it looks like collateral damage. He blew a tire, but I mean, he would probably say, short track racing.
You gonna try and fight him at this?
No, I don't need to fight him.
Tempers are very high down here, guys.
And once again, we know that when you come to Martinsville, it's close quarters, tempers are high, but then you also, you take the tempers and escalate it because of the playoffs. We know that a trip to the championship 4 is on the line. There's only 3 races when these guys can gain as many points as possible. And with Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin both fighting for every position on the racetrack, things like this can happen.
Yeah, the action on the racetrack has always been heated, but now it seems to carry over. The frustration of the year, the pressure of the playoffs, what's on the line. You heard the fans.
Oh,
the fans at Martinsville come here, they expect this chaos-type atmosphere, and it delivers time and time again.